everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on The Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, we've been away for a couple of weeks because I've had so many random work events and all the things to attend. So to everybody showing up today early and all throughout the show, I appreciate you getting nuts with us here on the Sunday. We got so many great panelists with us. We're going to talk a little bit about movie news, entertainment news as always. Definitely talking a little bit about that Spider-Verse. And I do want to touch on the Superman trailer as well, that update. But I've got some questions for the boys that are strategic there as well. And then, of course, Hot Toys news, CinemaCon news, all of the news, Jazzinc, all the good stuff. So, guys, without further ado, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get 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 nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Welcome back, one and all. Let's get our first panelist out here today. You may know him as one of our British correspondents, but you may think you are thinking of one person when you are articulating towards another. We've got Aaron Articulates back in the house with us again.
Here we go.
Buddy here, late at night on your end. Thanks for being here as always.
Yeah, I've got a day off tomorrow, Ben. Well, we've got 2 weeks off, so I've already had a few beers. This is uncut.
So it's going to get crazy.
You never know
mark
what I'm
our
going
words?
to say now.
We're only in minute 3. You never know what's going to happen.
I'll hold off. How long is it? 5 minutes until you can swear?
At least 5 minutes. Yeah, at least 5 minutes before.
Right, check me back in 5. And...
That's right. Dude, I've been loving your show lately, man. If anybody has missed it, definitely check out Aaron Articulates on YouTube after the fact. Your recent ramble on meals, man, had me in stitches, especially with the whole like wife needing to change her outfit several times before.
Oh, mate.
And you're like, I'll just throw on a pair of jeans and like, boss your uncle. I'm good.
I could go again. If you said to me now, do you want to go? Obviously, you're in Canada. That wouldn't work. But if you went,
I might make it still faster. You never know.
Yeah, but yeah, possible. I could go now. I'll just take this jacket off, shirt.
That's right.
See ya. I'm in. But yeah, no, and the rant became true because on Saturday we went like it got to about it was even earlier than what I suggested on the rant. It was about 10 o'clock. She was like, "Oh, I haven't got anything to wear." So, oh no, I know what we're doing. I mean, I ended up. I got myself a new shirt to wear. I just thought I may as well, didn't I? As I was going.
That's honestly more motivated than I am. I'll just show up in whatever nice sweater that I've got.
Well, I'm just thinking, if
you...
yeah, do you want me there or not?
That's right. Check out Aaron Articulates on YouTube after Let's Get Nuts today. Super fun show. You're on your way to 100 subscribers. Hopefully we'll have upwards of 40 or 50, maybe even more today in the chat. So if you guys are watching even on replay, let's get them to 100. What is that? Only 17 subs? That's easy. We got this shit. All right, guys, let's move on. But Aaron, happy to have you here, buddy. Once again, now, of course, the man in yellow. Some people definitely mistake this man as Wolverine. I definitely do all of the time. Let's be honest. We got Dave, X-Men Supreme, back in the house again. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah!
That was badass.
Let's do it!
That's awesome, man. Good to see you. What are you drinking? This is
a Jack Daniel's Down Home Punch.
I have never heard
watermelon.
Of that before.
Oh my God, that looks brilliant.
It's good. Yeah. They got peach. They got fruit punch. It's good.
That's awesome. Dave, I was at a party last night. Shout out to our buddy Mysterio Meotics. His name is Jay. He's been on the show a couple times now. Check out his YouTube channel as well. He's doing very, very well. But Jay lives locally to me. So last week he sent me an invite to his birthday party. And for those who don't know me, I'm extroverted introvert. I've got like the worst case of social anxiety ever. So I'm always like, yeah, I'll go to the party. And then days leading up to it, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I've committed myself to socializing. I don't know if I can do it. And I had today, the show today with you guys. And I'm like, oh God. But anyways, Jay and his wonderful Filipino family invited me over for his birthday. And I will say those folks know how to party. We had so much fun last night. And so big thank you to Jay and his family. But while I was there, Dave, I was chatting with a young guy who just started collecting, and he watches Let's Get Nuts show every week. And he said, and I shit you not, I love Dave, X-Men Supreme. He's awesome. You never know what he's gonna say. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, that is awesome. So you guys have your own fans within the Let's Get Nuts podcast show. So that was cool to hear.
Cheers to that shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Big shout out to Jay and his family once again. Thank you so much. I hope you invite us back. Hope I didn't make a fool of myself. I'm sure we'll find out in photographs later that can be shared on the After Dark segment of the show. Guys, let's move on to our next awesome panelist here. Now, I put out the feelers today to the boys because I want to know in our warm-up today, what makes a good Superman? And so to get into character, one Adam 12th has joined us today, looking like Clark Kent himself. Look at the glasses. Oh God, that's amazing. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I can't hear you at all, but you sound badass, I'm sure.
I was muted. Sorry about that.
There we
it's
go.
a job for Super One Adam 12.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, you're looking amazing. Thanks you for being here. I've been seeing you've been making your rounds on all the different podcasts lately. So that's exciting to see, man. That's exciting to see. And your daughter and you just got the Deadpool as well as Ahsoka. Or sorry, not Ahsoka, Anakin in hand, if I'm not mistaken. Hold up that Anakin. Let the people see. Dude. Hey man, looks good.
Yeah, it's I really like it. You know, I'm not very critical on the figure looks. You know, I'm good enough for me, but I actually think this is next level. I really think it's a nice figure. You'll see I put something up on Instagram, but I'll be putting up a unboxing later tonight. It's a
how's the hair?
Figure. The hair,
on yours,
hair feels soft. It feels nice. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like super like hard because of all the product, or
not really. No.
Nice.
I mean, there's a little parts of it you touch it, and it feels like, you know, I put hair gel in my hair, so like it feels like, you know, like how my hair feels when I put my hair gel in. I don't know. It feels like real hair. You know, it's really it's awesome, and it definitely I have the dark side Anakin, and this is an improvement on and I like that figure too. But this is the head sculpt, the tailoring, obviously the hair. It's a major improvement over that.
How would you rate the hair color compared to the dark side?
Maybe
they look very similar to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, slightly darker. I gotta double check that because I have the hood on the dark side Anakin up, so I need to compare them together. I haven't done that yet.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I am happy that we got a chance to see it in a collector's hand, to be fully honest with you, because there's been so much controversy lately surrounding Artisan, and we're going to talk about that today. I've been calling it Artisan Gate. You know, I want to know from the folks here, the panelists, as well as the community that's watching, you know, are these takes feeling a little overblown? Is it controversy for the sake of controversy? Is it a real issue? How do we feel about Artisan now? So we're going to get into that a little bit for sure, because it's nice to see that you have one in hand and that you're so far enjoying it. But other people that we know and can trust typically out there in the collector sphere have had a bit of a different experience. So we'll definitely chat about that today. So cool share, man. And you know, congratulations to you and your daughter again. Your channel is doing great. Make sure you subscribe.
18 away from 6,000. So if you haven't liked today.
Hell yeah!
Damn, it took me almost 2 years to get to that. So good for you, man. You're gonna crush it. So, hell yeah! We got one more panelist in the back. He's been here, you know, periodically throughout the years, and he always classes up the joint. Let's bring him out here. We got Mr. Classy Thomas back in the house once again, sounding stronger and stronger every day. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you, Ben. Yeah, and all the other panelists. It is.
Dude.
Joy to be back here with you all today.
Heck yeah, buddy. Heck yeah. And I knew you were feeling better because you got your fancy glasses on and the lights in the back. So hell yeah. Looking good, buddy. Looking good. And we got lots to talk about today.
I had to remember how the flip on all the lights. I was like, I haven't done this. I was like, what am I supposed to do here? I said, I almost forgot my computer password. I was like, man, this is crazy getting back into it, but I'll be here.
It's funny you say that too. It's funny you say that too, Classy, because I'd injured my arm at the gym about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'd had to take about 6 weeks off the gym. And of course, when the doctor tells you you don't have to go to the gym, you like really don't go to the gym then, you know what I mean? I rode the couch and the snacks real hard for like 6 weeks. But then when I finally went back to the gym about a week ago, I, got changed, put my stuff in my locker, went out and worked out, went back to my locker 2 hours later, all fatigued, and I could not remember my locker combination for the sake of I had to get them to come in and like bolt cutter the thing off. It was so embarrassing. Man. It was so embarrassing. I'm like, you haven't been to the gym when you can't even remember your own locker combination. So yeah, that was embarrassing. So I had to get a new lock. I've sent pictures to all my friends, so I can ask them in the future if that ever happens again. So guys, we have 32 people watching live. I'm seeing you all your names in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. We're definitely going to say hi to all you guys individually here very, very shortly, of course, after our warm-up, but I do want to get into the show. So today our warm-ups are a little bit twofold, because I want to take a look at quickly like what we saw, a couple screen grabs from Superman. We'll talk a little bit about that extended trailer if you've seen it. We don't want to give any spoilers away. I mean, there's not much to give away at this point, but the question remains, what makes a good Superman to you guys on the panel? Because I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially with some of the controversy around the new James Gunn DC universe. Of course, there's lots of very mixed opinions, not only about the actor, but his outfit, the red underwear, the bulky ass red underwear, especially. Some people love it, some people hate it. But to me, the look of Superman isn't necessarily what makes Superman. So I'm going to let you guys give your take first, and then I will tag in on the end. But let's start with the man who looks like Superman today. Let's go 1 Adam 12th. I'm curious, buddy. I know you've been a lifelong Superman. For you, when you close your eyes and think about Superman, what do you need out of the next actor or next performance to feel like that is now your guy, your number one? What are your thoughts there?
I think we need someone who embodies the optimism and positivity that even in a cynical world, a world of violence, a world of hatred, a world of war, that there is good still in that world, that there is a reason for hope, and that even in the darkest of times, there is something to strive for, and you need an actor and a Superman that's written that exudes that optimism. And to me, the GOAT is always Christopher Reeve, certainly in those first two movies. And you look back in the first Superman movie, came out in 1978, and it's Metropolis, but it was filmed in New York City, and it shows New York City what it was at that era, like kind of gritty 1970s 80s New York City. If you ever had a chance to live in the city or visit the city, it wasn't the best times for New York City, but Christopher Reeve's Superman gave that optimism and the hope. And I think other Superman have done as well. I like Henry Cavill a lot. His film was a little bit of a darker take on Superman, but I still liked his Superman. So I think if David Cornsweet and James Gunn's film brings that optimism, the truth, justice, it used to be truth, justice, American way. I know, and all deference to our Canadian and British friends, I know they want to try to move away from that. But to me, the truth, justice, and American way, not in a jingoistic type of way, but in what a post World War II America of leading the world for optimism, hope, and the America that defeated Nazi Germany and Japan. That's the type of truth, justice, and American way that I think Superman used to embody, and that's kind of what I hope that this Superman embodies: the optimism and hope.
For sure. Optimism and hope, definitely a good way to look at it, for sure. I agree. I mean, I felt that there was some level of hope even within the Zack Snyder universe, even though it was a much darker take. I would say he was more badass, like Henry Cavill Superman. certainly a lot darker, not necessarily fun in the same whimsical way that you might use the word fun when talking about Superman. But I can see all aspects here, because I mean, when I look at Christopher Reeve, there's lots about his performance that I loved about. But even Brandon Routh, like, I still go back and watch that movie every once in a while as a bit of a guilty pleasure, and still have a great time with it. And then again, Man of Steel was still fantastic for me. So Dave, what are your thoughts when you kind of close your eyes, you envision for you what makes a good Superman for you when you think about him?
Well, it's more the vibe than anything else. Like Adam said, he's got to be that apple pie dude, man. That's what Superman is. Like, nobody did it better than Christopher Reeve on both fronts. He had it as Superman. He had it as Clark Kent. That was the guy. Like, everyone else has done a pretty good job too, but I don't think anyone's really nailed it like Christopher Reeve did. He's got that aw shucks going, and that's at the core what Superman is. And that's what you need Superman to be. Like, it's kind of scary to think about if Superman was really more like Henry Cavill's Superman. That guy had some dark stuff going on, and he really didn't let it take over, but you can see it happening. 100%. Bruce Wayne was right to be a little bit worried about that dude. But you look at Christopher Reeve, you look at the animated Superman. That's Superman, 100%. That's exactly what he is. He is naive to a lot of things that would keep him from being as pure as he is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the crux of it all. You've got to have that certain bit of Magoo to be Superman.
Agreed. Are you liking the idea of it being a bit brighter colors, more vibrancy?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Do you still like the old muted?
Absolutely. No, Superman is supposed to be, as has been said by probably everybody ever, a symbol for hope. He's got to be bright. He's got to be shining. He's got to be there for the world to see as the example for just pure ass good. That is the mission statement. That is the beginning and the end for Superman. If he isn't that, then he isn't Superman.
Agreed. Well, and I'm even just like, looking at you guys on the panel, like Adam's shirt pops in such a positive way. Like, just that like color of blue for me even just represents it. So like, that's what I'm getting out of this corn sweat look, is at least that blue vibrancy is coming back around. Because that was the one thing, like, I never thought like a Man of Steel t-shirt was as fun, dark, with the darker symbol on it. It just didn't feel the same. But that, again, that's just me for sure. Great talk. And by the way, Dave, I meant to ask you this: is this a Wolverine jacket? Like, is this a cosplay jacket?
Oh yeah, this is my my super suit, my Deadpool and Wolverine super suit.
Hell yeah, man! From
Super X. I've been wearing the hell out of it. I don't go to the gym.
It looks good.
I don't know if you can tell. I don't go to the gym, but this is comfortable and it breathes really well, and I like it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got a nice hood with the wings. Yeah.
Cool. I was curious if you found something that was like damn close, or if it was an intentional look, but I assumed intentional. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Cool. We do have another guest in the back here. I wanted to bring him out before we move on there. We got Mr. Feel the Burn in the chat and in the panel with us. Once again, good to see you, buddy. Hey, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Yes, I am finally here. I'm sorry I was so late, but I never gotten the link from Facebook Messenger, so I was kind of confused how to do it. But somehow it managed. I don't know how, because I'm using the iOS iPad, so it's kind of different, because you have to like download like your own StreamYard app to do it. And when I copied your link, it didn't work for some reason. So
no worries, man.
Yeah, but I'm glad I'm here. I'm finally here, y'all. Don't panic.
Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here. We're talking a little bit about Superman and what makes a great Superman when we close our eyes and think about it. So I'll give you a couple minutes to think about it there for sure, Robert. Classy Thomas, always elegant, always classy in your takes. What are your thoughts, buddy? I know you've loved Superman for a long period of your life, right? So what makes Superman for you?
Well, I've heard this word twice, and it's the word hope. And I don't know if any of you, well, most of you probably remember the Alex Ross series, the big oversized series. He did one with Wonder Woman, Batman, Shazam, and Superman. And I think, if I recall correctly, Superman's book was called Hope. If anybody here on the panel or in the chat is able to confirm that with me, that would be great. But I remember that book, and it showed all the feats that Superman was able to do, and that is someone who can show hope to people. It's what you look for in a Superman. Now, I've been very excited about Corn Sweat in this role. I've seen him in some other roles. I say, yeah, this guy's Superman. And I don't care what anybody says, I love the suit with the red underwear on the outside. That is classic Superman. And this new one looks really good. And I like the symbol that they put on his chest. It looks kind of like, if it were, I think the background would, instead of yellow, would have been black, but it looks almost like his first appearance. And so I'm really excited about this. That clip that they show just made me I was like, yeah, I knew I was right, because I was rooting for it all along. And you had all these people like, man, it's not gonna be good. You gotta have Cavill. Where's Cavill? Listen, I don't have a problem with Cavill, but he wasn't the guy that I thought was really Superman. I think he fit in. He filled in very nicely. But I was looking for someone more like Christopher Reeves, and not that dark, kind of almost depressing figure that Zack Snyder was presenting to us. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not going to blame it on Cavill. I kind of blame it on Snyder, because that was his vision. But I'm glad we have more hopeful, optimistic, I've heard that, vision of Superman, and that Corn Sweat is the guy to carry this off. I hope he is wildly successful.
Absolutely. Brick Artemis in the chat says, let's do something as a community and support every movie in July. I plan to. I definitely can't wait. We got Jim Collector here as well saying, honestly, new movie is looking good so far. Totally agree, good sir. L. Walker saying, I just hope the movie is good. I think it will be. I'm feeling very positive about what I've seen so far. The CGI in the extra long tease felt a little janky to me, just a little bit in and around the dog, but I liked from what I was seeing from Crypto in terms of the dog is very obviously also just a dog and has some fun with Superman, and it made me laugh out loud. I was excited for it. I like the colors, all of that. But I'll give you guys my thoughts on Superman in just one moment. We'll go to you, Aaron, and then Feel the Burn. I'm going to get you on Batman on the next one, okay, buddy? Because I want to keep the show moving here. So, Aaron, what makes Superman to you, buddy? Is it any different over on your side of the world? Has Superman always been just as popular there for you guys as well? Like, what are your thoughts?
As I've said before, I'm not a massive Superman fan, but this, I'm something's drawing me into this one, and I feel like I might actually take that time out to go and see this at the cinema. You know, which, as you know, Ben, that's huge for me.
Yep.
Like that's massive.
Navigating all that horrible traffic everywhere.
Just traffic.
I'm surprised you even leave the house, honestly.
Yeah, actually, you've just put me off. Actually, I was just waiting for it to stream. Yeah, no, can't be bothered now. But no, something's doing something for me here, and for someone that's not a massive Superman fan, yeah, but I can't explain what it's doing. But I'm
intrigued
I
at the very least.
I am. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. For me, I'd say what makes a good Superman is a lot of what Christopher Reeves embodied in his version of Superman. I liked that he was able to play a very unassuming man who most people would look past, 90% of the time, right? He was able to change his posture, his cadence, the way he spoke, the way he interacted with people, to be somebody who most people just was like background filler for them in their own lives. And then to be able to shift his whole body and personality through his core and truly take his glasses off and be Superman and have that hope and have that excitement and have that person that that if you yelled for Superman, there's a way, somehow, he's going to hear you and come for you. Even if you're just a small child or whatever's happening, like Superman will be there somehow. He's the guy. But I also like when they find ways to make him infallible to a certain extent, right? If he is the Man of Steel, if he cannot be hurt, then how do you beat down Superman, right? Obviously, from the trailer, something's going to happen with him physically. But I also think that there's some huge leaps and bounds that they can take with the character moving forward about some of the mental struggle that Superman would have to go through, being part of Earth now, feeling that imposter syndrome being here, while also taking on the responsibility of saving people and saving the planet and being their Superman, but what he deals with on that personal front as well, right? Growing up as Clark Kent, but also recognizing that he has a whole history out there that he doesn't know a lot about, and having bits and pieces of his home here and seeing the struggle with that, I think will be really exciting. And what I do like about James Gunn's films, for the most part, is he makes me care for characters that I wouldn't necessarily normally care about. I guaranteed that by the time whatever's happening in this bottom picture here with the robot happens, that'll make me cry. I just have that feeling. I never cared about a raccoon character wielding a gun until we got to find out about Rocket's life and what happened to him and his traumatic upbringing and all the things, and my god, that stuck with me for like 2 years. So he'll find a way, I feel very confident in that, to bring out who Superman is on the inside and make it relatable to the everyday person, as well as giving us somebody to be able to look up to. And I think that that's something that Christopher Reeves did wonderfully well. While I think Henry Cavill was fantastic as Superman, I think he was badass as Superman. You guys nailed it when you said he didn't write the script. He didn't get much of an input on how that character was going to be portrayed. He showed up to do a job, and I think that he did the best job that he could with the material he was given. But I think that there's more in the bone, so I'm excited to see what that looks like. Guys, we have almost 45 people watching us live right now. Thank you so much for being here, getting nuts. If you're just joining the show, we're having our little bit of warm-up discussion in entertainment news before we get into the 6 scale, and I will definitely say hi to everybody here in a few moments because I definitely see you guys rolling in. But I do want to stick with the theme of Superman and Batman at the very least. I did want to shout out our man Val Kilmer here. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer, 1959 to 2025. He passed away this past week. And it honestly, it was surprising. It hit me a little harder than I was expecting, because when you think of actors who have had like a nostalgic impact in your life, even though there's only a handful of roles that I would watch of his over and over again, for me, it was Batman Forever was his probably number one film that I would go back to the most. That or maybe Top Gun. But I think Batman Forever was the one that I watched him most in. And there was a lot of years before Christian Bale came along that he was the guy for me. He was kind of that Batman that I celebrated. I had all of the Batman Forever toys you could get. And I still go back and think he made a great character, but as a person, he had an impact on the world as well. He sounds like he was a wonderful person just to be around. The last time I saw him in any film was Top Gun Maverick. It was good to see him in there as well. Clearly a very heartfelt moment in that film. But, you know, unfortunately passed away consideringly pretty young, right? I mean, I'm getting close to 40 myself. I believe he was 66, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm doing my math right there. So that is young nowadays. That is young. So feel bad for the guy, but rest in peace, Val Kilmer. To add to that, I did bring this up because similar question: what makes a good Batman? And guys on my panel, if you don't mind putting in the private chat, you know, who wants to have a take on Batman and who doesn't. I did pull this slide up as well. It might be a little bit grainy, but we have an idea of some of the live action Batmans that we've seen. One notable omission here is Kevin Conroy, who was the Batman, the animated series Batman, as well as the Batman voice in so many video games and animated shows. For me, Kevin Conroy, it will always be the voice of Batman, no question. But when I think about what makes Batman, it's a little bit different than Superman. Superman is all about that hope and having somebody to look up to and knowing that I will be there for you, you know, somehow. But also having the ability to really transform how he acts and who he is. Whereas Bruce Wayne and Batman are always a little bit on the different, and they're always portrayed just a little bit differently. Obviously, he's supposed to be the greatest detective, right? Especially from the comics. So for me, a great Batman makes a great detective, somebody who kind of similar to actually Pattinson, where I felt like there was some detective work that was, you know, portrayed in this film that was kind of cool. But I can also appreciate the campy Batman as well. So I was kind of curious to see what you guys think. Is there a favorite Batman on the list for you here? If I had to quickly rate these, I would definitely give it my top 3 anyways, to Michael Keaton being my number 1 Batman. Christian Bale would have to be, I think, my second favorite. And then it would likely be Val Kilmer or Robert Pattinson tied for third. I have a really hard time with both of those. I like both of their roles. So I was curious, Field of Burn, I'll start with you. Of the Batmans, what makes a great Batman for you? And what would be your top 3 Batman here on the list? And you can put Kevin Conroy in there if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I mean, just like you said, first and foremost, he must be a detective. He came from Detective Comics. That's what he does. He goes around the crime scene, looking at forensics and all that other stuff, like CSI stuff. And that's what I really loved about Robert Pattinson's portrayal. Now, if I had to rank the Batmans, like number 1, Keaton all the way, since I am an 80s baby. So that was the first Batman I ever seen, like, in media ever. Like, I didn't even read the comics until, like, after that. So, yeah, he would be my number 1. Number 2, definitely Pattinson, for sure. He is just as an adult,
Pattinson, eh? That's
he is
awesome.
Yeah, as an adult, he is my favorite Batman, where they can just get down and dirty and gritty and just nasty with it. That's what I like about that. Yeah, and the third would be Bale. He did a good job, but I'm sorry, it just didn't feel like Batman to me. It was just like he's just there punching people, driving his tank around and all that other stuff. But I still enjoy the films. I like them. But yeah, yeah, definitely he has to be a detective first and foremost. And then, like, people complain about Robert Pattinson's size. You're gonna have a dude in armor. So, I mean, does size really matter when it comes to Batman? I mean, I know a lot of people have an opinion on that, but I don't really think so. I mean, this is his second year. So maybe in the second film, he'll bulk up a little bit more. We'll see. But yeah, I just think that, yeah, I'm really excited for the Batman 2 whenever that gets out. Lord knows when. But yeah.
It's interesting that it's interesting you mentioned his size, Robert. Sorry to cut you off there, buddy. Because you know, even when you think about Michael Keaton, who is many people's favorite Batman of all time, Michael Keaton was not a large man either, or still isn't, right? So, and he was still able to portray something relatively intimidating. The difference on the Pattinson side there is his armor, or his suit, is significantly easier to actually fight in. It seems like so. Size is definitely important, but I would say capability as well, right? Training is really appropriate. But all of them have, a different level of weight, right? When you see Affleck in the costume and he's just beating on some of those bad guys, you can feel the weight behind some of his punches, right? And that's also something that I think is really fun to watch with Batman. So either really strategic, complex fighting, or that brute force, both can really be an exciting thing to watch, right, and participate in. So it's interesting to hear your choices there, Robert, for sure, because they kind of touch on all of that to a certain extent. So very cool. Dave, what do you think, buddy? I know you're a Batman guy. Obviously the Wolverine mask is basically just two Batmans kissing. So what are your thoughts on Batman here?
It's Adam West and it's Michael Keaton birthing Batfleck is what the Wolverine mask is. So I want to start by hitting on the subject of size, because how big was Bruce Lee?
True.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really more about skill than anything else. And yeah, traditionally Batman is a very large, muscly man. And he definitely does bring home the whole tights so far as the strongman aspect from the old circus days goes. But like, he's also got to be very athletic. So, you can't be a big old muscle head and still be able to do like, somersaults and stuff. You got to be a nice, mix. And so I think that the size thing is negotiable. I often tout Michael Keaton as my Batman, and for the same reason as a lot of people. I was 9 years old when Batmania swept the nation in '89. Oh man, I was there for every second of that, and it was crazy. Like, people thought that like the lead up to No Way Home was something, and it was something. It didn't have anything. On Batmania, dude. The hype for that was realer than anything that's happened since.
It was crazy.
Without social media, mind you. But for me, really honestly, the best Batman outside of comics across all other media has got to be Kevin Conroy's Batman. He didn't do the physical bits of it, of course. It was really a collaboration, but it's all a collaboration, right? You got to have a good writing staff. You got to have good stories. You got to have all the things. And he did have a turn at being Bruce Wayne and a little bit Batmanish, in the real, in the live action realm, when they did that whole Crisis thing and they finally combined everybody in the CW. That was pretty cool to see him in a mech suit, of course, but he's old. He's got to do something. But Kevin Conroy's Batman, I will never not read a comic book or anything where Batman is talking and not hear Kevin Conroy's voice. It's just not going to happen.
Same.
And that Batman was perfect. He wasn't as dark as some portrayals. He was just dark enough that you believed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he did have a bit more of that kind of... He had a bit more heart to him than a lot of stuff that you see. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I hated to admit it. At the time. I signed the petition. I went on change.org and I said, no, this is not Batman. And then I saw it, and as much as I absolutely despise the Snyderverse, I really, really, really liked him as Batman. But as like old, I'm tired of everybody's crap, get off my lawn, Batman, like 100%. That's where he works as Batman. But Batman needs to be so many things. He needs to be brilliant. He needs to be some people might not take this away from him, but he needs to be overly understanding of everything, because he's gotta know how the mind works. So while he may be a jerk, especially in the cartoon, he's a jerk to all of his sidekicks and everybody else. He is, but that's how he is. But he does understand them, and he cares. What was it Amanda Waller said? She never met anyone who cared more about people than Batman. And that's true. And he's definitely, because if he doesn't have that, what is there to keep him, being human? Right? This man is a walking myth. There is nothing this man can't do, because Batman is the answer to everything. And he's got to be mythological. He's got to be larger than life. But he's also got to be so real you can't believe it. And that's where that version of Batman lives. And that's what Batman has to be. Whatever they do, whoever they cast, however this works, if James Gunn is working on it, I think he's going to bring that to it. I think he's going to win where other Batmen have failed. Because everybody had some good stuff about them. I think George Clooney would have been a fantastic Batman if everything around him didn't let him down. But
I'm Batman.
Yeah, that was that was so bad. But you gotta love that Mr. Freeze though. That's such a good thing. We get that from it at least. But yeah, dude, Batman's gotta be scary as hell. But he's also gotta be, when you're like a 4-year-old kid in Crime Alley, and you were taken for ransom or something, and he shows up, he's gonna be able to comfort you too, there's a certain thing about Batman where he is horrifying to the right people, but he also, there was a comic where he was sitting there in somebody's fucking house, and he was playing with the little toys with a little kid there, and it was just the coolest thing. Here's Batman sitting here playing Lincoln Logs or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, dude, Batman's all that. He's got to be dark. He's got to be caring, understanding, all those little things. And then you've got the world's greatest detective. You can't have that without the understanding bit of it. You can't have the detective part without him being grim enough to deal with all of that stuff. And you can't have all the discerning decision making that he has to make without being it's like an Ouroboros of personality conflicts that bring him into one cohesive thing. And yeah, he is an enigma wrapped in a riddle, dressed in leather or rubber or whatever the hell the material of the week is.
Well, and they bring all of these guys bring something different, right? I even think about Val Kilmer. Again, love Val Kilmer, and his ability to kind of pull apart the Riddler's puzzles in that film and think critically, just in riddles and stuff. I thought that was cool. I liked Christian Bale's take, but he was less on the detective side. He was more of that kind of, like you were saying, that one was mythological, fear. He uses the element of fear and the unknown, and it's not who he is underneath, but what he does that defines him, right? That kind of feel. And then you think about Ben Affleck's version, where I actually thought he made a great Playboy style Bruce Wayne and a great physical embodiment of Batman, but then didn't have the best films to support how great that character, in my opinion, could have become. But again, they're all so different. So, Adam, I'll go to you, and then Aaron for your thoughts on Val Kilmer, and then we will move on to the next one, guys. Adam, what are your thoughts here on Batman?
I think that if Superman represents Norman Rockwell's painting of America, then Batman is Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, Mean Streets, 70s era version of Gotham City, cesspool, corrupt, crime-filled, on the verge of a explosive revolution. And Batman represents someone who's on the edge, is the greatest detective, and on one respect, as Dave pointed out, yeah, he's the world's greatest detective. He's a champion of justice, but he's also on the edge of sanity himself. And let's be clear about this. Batman's not the Mask. Bruce Wayne is the Mask. And Bruce Wayne is the mask that he puts on so he could, by night, for the most part, carry on his duties as Batman. And so he can nominally run Wayne Enterprises and throw people off. Batman is the best Batman are those who are single-handedly focused on vengeance, not to the point of murder, but to the point of just before murder, and bringing those who would harm others, to heal. I think that to me the best Batman, number one, Christian Bale, two, Michael Keaton, and the third, it's a very close race between Pattinson and Affleck. Affleck had a little bit more, movies than Pattinson, but I guess I'd have to go with Pattinson because I do think that's as a film that's a very good film. To me, Batman is. I'm not sure, and this is pointed out in the Nolan films. Is he really making things better in Gotham, or as they pointed out, is it escalating? Because ever since Batman shows up, more and more of these supervillains show up. I'm not so sure things are getting better in Gotham, and that's it's kind of, in some ways, as Superman brings hope, Batman tries to bring hope. He does try to bring hope to Gotham. But I think it ends up just being more and more hopeless, but it's to me it's fascinating to watch. I love Batman.
For sure. I'm excited to see what happens with Pattinson. Hopefully we do get the other film out of him, because one thing that you guys mentioned as well, and Dave definitely hit on, was like that heart for humanity piece, right? And that is something that I'm not getting out of a year 2 Batman yet. Now, when I go back and read things like year 1 Batman in the comics, same thing. Like, there's an evolution of that character. He starts out being angry and very vengeful, right? And that's where that I am vengeance comes from. It makes sense. And even at the end of the Pattinson film, we see him start to transition away from being vengeance into something more. And I'm excited to see how they hit on that. What is the more? What else will we see from that character? And I do feel optimistic about James Gunn Batman as well. But I have no preference on casting for who it ends up being. I don't think it'll come down to the casting. I think it'll come down to how the role is portrayed and some of the nuance within that role, right? Like you guys hit on. The Mask is who he is. The Mask is, like the cowl, I should say, the back cowl is who he is. He's not, like, his mask is Bruce Wayne. And that was something that I thought Christian Bale always did really well. He was able to look like such a dink when he's sitting at the table talking to Harvey Dent and those guys, like, as Bruce Wayne. And then, his switch into Batman was excellent that way. For me, I would say, I think one of the reasons George Clooney never really truly hit was because I always felt like you knew exactly who he was. Like, he was 100% Bruce Wayne is that Batman guy, like, for sure, because like nobody talks like that dude otherwise. Like, he's very obviously the case, but everybody else I thought did a good job. So hate to see it. And you know what, I'm still getting the Mr. Freeze, and I'm still getting the George Clooney Batman Hot Toys figure either way, because nostalgia is a bitch, let's be honest. Now let's talk real quick. Aaron, you mentioned you wanted to say a quick shout out to Val Kilmer. What were your thoughts there, or on Batman, before we move on?
Yeah, I had to speak on this one, Ben. It's a weird one, because I don't think I really understood how much I loved Batman Forever until this news hit me this week. Like, I'm pretty cool when like, oh, so and so's died, and you go, oh, that's a shame. But I weirdly had the radio on the way to work, sat in traffic, standard, and they said, "Oh, Val Kilmer's died," and just made me think. I was like, "That's my Batman," and it took that for me to realise that regardless of the films or the quality of the films or whatever, that was my Batman. I was 5 when that film came out, and that was the one for me. And I got to work, and I there's a mate at work that loves Batman, and I said to him, have you heard about Val Kilmer? He was like, no. He was his Batman as well, and we just took a minute and was just like, yeah, like shit, that's over. And then it also brought back, and I don't want to go on an emotional roller coaster, but my grandma, who lived till she was 101,
holy crap,
yeah, she done well, mate.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could go around and have a chat with her as well. She was phenomenal. But she always, every Christmas, used to give me £100, and I used to always put it into a Hot Toys figure / Man United shirt. It depended what was going on. And the last one she gave the £100 for, I whacked down on the Batman Forever Hot Toys, because I was like, that's my childhood. I'm gonna go for it. And then since she passed away, I followed that collection all the way through. I've got the Mars Toys Riddler, Toys Era Two-Face. That little set has been something that I've kept going. Sort of, well, it's an excuse for my wife as well. Like, oh, my grandma bought me the first one, so I need to buy all of them now. Can't argue that, can you?
Oh, yeah. Nope.
Can't argue that. Yeah, just watch it happen. Yeah. So Batman Forever is just such a monumental thing in my life, and even this week when I said to my wife, like, oh, did you hear about Val Kilmer? She was like, yeah, well, what difference that made? Like, Christian Bale was much better. I was like, no, the film was better, but he was my Batman.
He was the Batman. That's fair. Well
He's
said,
my
man.
Batman.
Well said. Well said. And I mean, I think of similar experiences hearing, of celebrities pass, because I agree with you. Like, it's just the ones that hit the nostalgic buttons for me over the years. Val Kilmer was definitely one of them. One that hit me real hard years ago was Robin Williams. I mean, I loved Robin Williams as a kid when he passed. That was I still remember the day hearing it on the news. It's crazy, right? And so yeah, there's a lot of those folks out there, and of course, we're all of us getting to that age where we'll start to see some of those favorites continue to pass on.
Yeah, to be fair, Ben, I said this as well. Like, unfortunately, we're at that point now. This is going to happen a lot, isn't it?
A little bit more,
and that's horrible, isn't it?
That's fair, but it's in the way that we remember. I think as collectors in a community of collectors, one of my favorite parts about collecting, when people ask me like, why do you collect, and I talk about nostalgia, that is a piece of it, right? I mean, I've got Val Kilmer basically standing right above me here in that role for me that was iconic. And again, he had a lot of iconic roles beyond Batman, let's be honest. And sometimes I think we forget that these people live beyond their work, right? I mean, if everybody remembers me for being that great Certapro salesperson that I am, that would be a weird thing to be remembered by. Like, we have to remember that these people have families, loved ones. They were individual contributors to the world. They made people feel good, whether that was through their art or who they were as people. And I think that that's important to remember too, that, the world lost a good dude. So, Val Kilmer, you're the man. Thank you for everything that you gave us. I did want to give you a shout out, Mandy Burton here in the chat. I don't see you in our chat very often, but I'm happy that you were here, because we are definitely going to talk a little bit about our Anakin here in a little bit. And amazing photos, by the way. If you guys have not had a chance to see Mandy's photos, you are missing out. So find her on
fantastic
Instagram
photos
and all of the above. Hell yes. If somebody could put a link to Mandy's Instagram down there, I would always appreciate that while I pull everything else up here, guys. Now, I did have one other topic to mention, but I'm going to move on because I want to keep the show on pace. We're already an hour in, and I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Spider-Verse, so CinemaCon is just coming to an end, and in CinemaCon, if you don't know, it's kind of like a Comic-Con style event, but for movie theater owners in Las Vegas every year. And the cool thing about it is that you typically get a chance to hear about, upcoming films. Usually for the year that we're in, they don't usually kind of talk about stuff that's a ways away, unless that studio just doesn't have a lot coming. And unfortunately, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse has been given an update of a June 2027 release, which I was disappointed about, because it's already been, I think it's been at least 2 years since the last one came out. which is putting this out a ways. I actually rewatched this on the airplane last week when I was coming back from the East Coast, the other one, the Across the Spider-Verse. Great film, but I'm gonna, like, 2 years from now, I'm gonna have to rewatch it again. My memory is just not that good. So I was feeling a little disappointed about that, but I wanted to mention it to everybody just in case you had missed that piece of news. But I do want to mention for some housekeeping here, guys. If you don't mind, we got 50 people watching live. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us today. We appreciate you all being here and having some fun with us. If you can hit the like button, if you don't mind, guys, it helps share this show to the rest of the community, the folks who might not be getting it popped up on their feeds. It would definitely be helpful, especially if you're having fun with us. Some housekeeping: we do have our Tough Nut channel membership. These are some of the membership badges that we've got associated beside everybody who's a member. We have over 40 channel members now. Recently we did the giveaway for the Alien Xenomorph from Hot Toys, so once that figure releases, the channel member, the Batman, surprisingly, consider we were just talking about Batman is getting an Alien Xenomorph, so we'll make sure he sends a photo along with that giveaway when it comes. But the membership bank account's building up again here, guys. We're going to get close to another giveaway here as well, especially with the help of things like super chats and stuff like that. So the more we do here on the show, the closer we get to another channel giveaway every time. So stick around for the Tough Nut channel membership. If you're interested, you can become one. These are some of our membership emojis, and this is a huge list of channel members we have, and I will read all of you folks and your names at the end of the show. But if you want your name to appear on both Ben Thomas Show videos as well as live panels, we have the opportunity to put you on here and become a member. So the link is in the chat there, just for the housekeeping. I will also let you guys know, just in case you've missed it, because again, we got about 50 people watching. There had been some requests of me doing solo live streams every once in a while. And so I've created a new show called The Nut Yard within the Ben Thomas Show, so it's not a different channel you have to find. But it'll essentially just be me chatting with you guys as a very open mic style show. So if and when you see a Nut Yard being posted, jump in the chat with me. That's a great opportunity to ask me questions directly, just about whatever we're talking about, or life in general. Very open mic style of show. I'll give you guys one intro that I've been working on. It's very brief, but it's something that I've been having a little bit of fun with.
I come up with all my best stuff in the bathroom at work. I use this program to import the recordings I make on my phone. It actually quantize everything, backup instruments, and then finally I use the auto-tune.
All right, intro 1 and intro 2 we got here. I love South Park, if you guys can't tell. So intro 2.
It's like nobody understands me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yo, if you guys feel the same way, just leave a comment down below and smash that like button.
There we go. So The Nut Yard is an open mic style show. Make sure you join us when we're here, and I will have a chance to chat with you guys individually and answer some of your channel member questions. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat as always.
Is that everyone? I can want it more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Let's see who we got here with us today. Scrolling way up to the front. You guys are doing amazing work, by the way, in the chat. Thank you so much for all the engagement, guys. We got Valkyrie Magnus, Eric, here with us in the channel today, or in the panel, not in the panel, in the chat, I should say. Valkyrie Magnus, hey, Ben Thomas in the panel. Have a great stream today. I know it'll be a lot of fun, and I will catch the stream later. Eric, I always welcome here on the show as well. Valkyrie Magnus. We got one Adam 12 here in the channel and on the panel and in the membership. You'll love to see it. Saying hey, and let's get nuts to everybody, of course. We got Jose Plus. Hey everyone, time for LGN. Good to see you, buddy. Just so you guys are aware, I will be joining the Jose Plus show on 16 Fix in the coming weeks. I think it's the weekend of the 26th, if I'm not mistaken, as part of their Meso Menos show, and I will be in the Shark Tank up against Feezy's Figures. So stay tuned for that. I will post some links when that show gets a little closer, but don't forget to check that out for sure. We got Tijuana Mike, aka King Chiro, one of our great channel members. Happy Sunday, collectors. Good to see you, buddy. We got El Walker in the chat. What's up, fellas? Good to see you, buddy. King Dingaling, one of our channel members as well. What's up? Good to see you, buddy. We got Mr. Brick Artemis. If you are missing out on Brick Artemis content, make sure you go and check him out because he has been a member for 3 months and it is not time. Oh man, that could have been a good open mic show call name as well, but I don't know if anybody would tune in, honestly, if that was the case. We got Vita in the chat with us. Hey all, good to see you, Vita. Thank you for being here. The partner of course, Jim Collector out there as well. Love to see it. We got X-Men Supreme in the chat. Good to see you here as always, my friend. We got Mr. Reverse Zeo, gorgeous panel. We got to get you back on the show at some point because your photography, good sir, is also fantastic. We got Figure Poser in the chat. What's up? Good to, sir. Good to see you. We got Mr. Mark P in the chat. Hey, everyone. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Mr. Dilo, the collector. What's up, everybody? And I saw a concerning post from Dilo today saying he was feeling a little bit bummed about the community lately. So I'd like to hear more from you, Dilo. What do you mean by that? And of course, we value your opinions, good sir. Check out Wolfpack Wednesday on Jedi Night's Watch channel. One of my favorite shows of the week to check out. We got Jim Collector himself as well here. Evening all. Good to see you, buddy. We got Big Dog Pound 1 with a woo. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here as always. We've got Ethan, Boo DC. Love to see it. That's funny. Who else do we got? I want to make sure I don't miss anybody, of course. In fairness, of course. Aaron Articulates here in the channel, in the panel as well. Good to see you, buddy, as always. We got Mr. 12-inch Moose Dream in the chat. He says, Superman should have always been striving to keep his humanity, especially since he is all-powerful extraterrestrial. Superman could be called Virtue Man and should never kill. Zack Snyder. Yeah, fair enough. We got Honest Hansel in the chat with us as well. I'm pumped for the new take on old take Superman. Yes, absolutely. I see what you mean there. Yes, absolutely. Field to Burn in the chat with us as well as in the panel. Good to see you, buddy, as well. Let me make sure we're almost there, guys. Thanks for bearing with us while we say hello to everybody. As always, we got S-Beam in the chat. Love to see it. S-Beam, make sure you follow S-Beam's YouTube channel. One of the great folks out there in the community as well, of course. We got West Michigan Collector. Good to see you. And I like that avatar photo. Hell yeah. Tobyverse. We got Cy Moon in the chat. It says, Val Kilmer was so talented. This news hurt, but I've been rewatching his movies. I'm just thankful to have the films plus my hot toy. I'm down for more to celebrate his legacy. 100%. Well said. Well said. Excuse me. Let's see here. I am Vengeance in the chat with us. Good to see you. Saying hi to everybody, of course, as well. JB in the chat. He says, nipples are my favorite part. Okay, what are we talking about? Well said, well said. We got Loki, a collector here as well. Afternoon, gentlemen. Talking about my favorite subject being Batman, of course. We got Rachel Miller, my mom, the person who brought me into this world and gave me all my nostalgia kicks in the chest. Love to see it and love you. It was great seeing you last weekend, of course. There we got Mandy Burton, as we said, in the chat there as well. Make sure you follow her photography. Anybody who's in the chat, if you got the link to her Instagram, that would be very appreciated if you toss that in. And of course, we got Pop Culture Living Room in the chat. It says, look at all the sexiness on screen, and I'm talking about the panel. Hell yeah, man. We got to get you on the show. I've been meaning to do that for a while. I got to get better at sending out invites a little earlier, to be honest. I'm not so great with that sometimes, guys, I will admit. We got the movie canon Geo in the chat with us as well, with the rest of Val Kilmer on 100% as well. Let's see. I think that is everybody. Let me double check. Oh, X-Men Supreme celebrating 12 months in the chat. Wow, that's crazy, dude. I'm a bub nut. That's what you were working towards. Don't cancel now, okay? Now that you've achieved it, you got to stay with it. You know what I'm saying? We got the movie canon celebrating 15 months of channel membership as well. Dude, thank you so much. That is crazy. Big Dog Pound 1 just became a new channel member of the Tough Nut crew. Dude, love to see that. Thank you so much for joining us, of course. Let's give you a quick thank you, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. Definitely appreciate you being here with us. And welcome to the crew. Welcome to the crew, as always. Now, let's move on because we've got some 6 scale news to talk about. We are 1 hour in, 40 to 50 people watching. I love you faces. Let's talk very briefly about the cherry blossom version of the Stormtrooper. But I know a lot of panels have already had a chance to talk about the figure specifically. So if you guys have thought more about the figure and you have more take on the figure itself, you can definitely give it. But what I'm curious about is our thoughts on, you know, exclusives, right? We talk a little bit about exclusives in the Hot Toys and 6 scale community quite a bit. Exclusives are one of those hot button topics for some. Some people really hate exclusives. Some people love exclusives. When I think about all my friends here on the panel and everybody watching, one of my favorite parts about 6 scale collecting is that in reality, most of us should have pretty divergent collections. We should have things in our collections that not everybody has, and whether that's exclusive or because maybe that's just your favorite character that other people don't like, right? I remember when I got that Val Kilmer Batman Forever, people were hating on Batman Forever as a film, you know, but I couldn't wait to put it in my display. So when we see these display videos on YouTube, my favorite part is seeing things in there that not everybody has. But that's not always the way that Hot Toys collecting goes, right? And with exclusives, sometimes people want to get these in just because they're exclusive and not because they actually love the figure, and vice versa. So I was curious what you guys think. For me, I think this is a really unique one. For me, I think this is a perfect style of exclusive. I love the fact that if you are at like an event like Star Wars Celebration, that would be when I would try to chase something like this down. But otherwise, it's definitely not a needs to have. It does remind me of the Porcelain Trooper, for sure. But I think I liked the Porcelain Trooper more, to be honest. There was a little bit more Easter eggs in the outfit and some of the stamping. This is just kind of that, like, that iconic, you know, when you think about Japanese culture, you know, the cherry blossoms often do come up in their iconography. So I do think this is cool. This is, of course, a skip for me. But I was curious, Dave, what do you think about exclusive? Like, is exclusive something that you celebrate within the Hot Toys world and 6 scale world, or does it piss you off? Are you kind of like, man, if I miss it, then I'm just one of those folks that feels the opposite? Like, what's your stand on exclusives?
I think exclusive is really cool. I think it has its place. I don't think that, you know, you collect how you want to collect. If you are the exclusive hunter and that's your thing, that's kind of a cool flex, honestly. If that's all you get is exclusives, I think that would be a really cool collection. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to get something just because it's exclusive, you know. And we've all fallen into the trap of exclusive, you know, for the sake of having it, right? I'm pretty sure we all have. Like, I have that arena suit Boba Fett right now, and I'm like, what do I do with this guy? You know, we've all been there. But I think that stuff like this, first off, let me say, girl, you are working that jacket. Strut that runway, mama. I'm telling you, I love this thing, man. I love the hell out of this thing. This is just, if I were there, I would grab this.
100%.
I would absolutely grab this. This is a great souvenir, right? It's a great one of those markers of where I was at that time, and it's fantastic. Because, you know, everybody who's out there at Celebration who, you know, took the time off from work, who spent the money on the tickets and everything, you know, they're having a ball. They're having a blast out there. And this is a great physical, you know, reminder of that. It does everything I think that an exclusive for a con should do, you know? And it's not like, and everyone has been saying it and I'll echo it, Galen Erso shouldn't be exclusive, right? Like,
fair. I agree.
He's a pretty important character to the Star Wars lore. Whether or not he's just a dude in a suit, you know, that's easily debatable. And he kind of in a lot of ways is. But his contribution to the Star Wars lore is immeasurable. So that's a character that people will want to have. And that's a shame that that's one of those exclusives right there. And I hope they fix that. But this right here, this is exactly what it should be. And it's fantastic. It's pop art. And I love pop art. I love the hell out of pop art. So this is the thing that talks to me real hardcore. Not something that I'm going to buy because it's just, I'm not going that route in Star Wars. Star Wars is tertiary for me.
That's fair.
So this is not something that I will be buying, but I would if I were there. If I were there, I would pick this up. Absolutely.
Yeah. definitely a piece of the moment, that's for sure. If you know, like, if you can get in line and snag one, that would feel so good, even if it's not something you normally would buy. But if you can be there for it, that is 100% the way to go. I'd be curious, Adam, so for you, when you think about this figure, you think about kind of the nature of exclusives. I know you're within your kind of first year to year and a half of, you know, major collecting of Hot Toys. There's probably been a couple figures that you've missed now because of exclusivity. Maybe not, maybe you were one of the lucky ones. But what do you say to the folks that do miss out on exclusives, and how do you feel about them? And then secondary question, you know, what do you say to the folks who are out there saying, oh, we should have got something more popular. We should have got Yoda. We should have got some of these other characters that we've been waiting for. Why are we getting these? Nobody asked for these, blah, blah, blah. What do you say to those folks as well?
You know, I think exclusive should be, maybe you've seen some of those t-shirts. I went to Cleveland and all I got was this t-shirt. And the exclusive should kind of be like this for a specific geographic event, like the Star Wars Celebration. You take a character like a Stormtrooper, like a Darth Vader, and you make it maybe hyper local for that city, that country. You know, in this case, you do something culturally appropriate for Japan with the Stormtrooper. I think that's perfect. I think that if I went to Star Wars Celebration in Japan, I would pick this up because it's a nice conversation piece. Someone says, well, you know, what's the deal with this Stormtrooper? And you give a little story, though. I went to the celebration in Japan and picked this up. And then, oh, okay, I get it. That's why he's got the cherry blossoms and the robe or the, I don't know what you call the jacket. But if, as Dave mentioned, if you have Galen Erso, a character that has not yet been produced, and you only allow people, you have a paywall to it, that you have to buy a ticket to come to Japan to the Star Wars Celebration to get, that's not the right way to do an exclusive. It should be characters, you know, there's a million Stormtroopers. Anyone can get a Stormtrooper. Anyone can get a Hot Toys Darth Vader. Now, maybe it's not that exact one that's for sale, not that exact Stormtrooper, but you can still get one. You can't get a Galen Erso unless you buy a ticket and go to Celebration. That's wrong. That's just wrong. You know, in terms of your second question about, well, why can't we get this character? Why can't we get that character? I think that some of these exclusives are of Darth Vader, Stormtroopers. They're big sellers. Iron Man, you know, there's a million different Iron Man exclusives. The Hot Toys just came out with one, the Refracted. I actually pre-ordered that because I think it looks kind of cool. They're sellers, and the sale of those characters help fund some of the more niche characters that many of us want in our collections. So I have no issue with that. You know, this why can't we get this? Why can't we get that? I think that's a kind of a negative way to view things. I mean, clearly, you know, everyone's got their own wish list, and you know, eventually, you know, I think you take the long view. Eventually, your wish is going to come true. Sooner or later, they're going to get around to it. You just it's a long game. You got to be patient.
Agreed. Well said, dude. Well said. Yeah, well said. And I do think it is easy to be negative sometimes in the collecting hobby, right? Because you know, there are figures that you may miss on that end up being exclusive, and you're like, what was their thinking for this? Like, I felt that way with the Artisan Bucky Barnes, where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna miss the Artisan, maybe I'll at least get the sculpted. And then so far, we haven't got a sculpted version put out, so I just have just missed that figure now entirely. I was so pissed, but at the same time, when I started in Hot Toys collecting, you know, 14 years ago, getting things that other people didn't have, like, that was still part of the fun of it too, right? And I remember getting some pieces that I was like, oh, nobody else can get this now, but I got it in my display, and like that felt good. So you can't both feel good about getting things that other people don't get, and then feel super negative about other people getting shit that you want and couldn't get either. Like, I think that we got to meet each other halfway on that for sure, and try to shed some of the negativity, because what I found in toy collecting over the years is that these things always find a way to come back around. I'll just get the Bucky Barnes 3.0 when it comes out in 10 years from now, and we'll call it a day. So before I go to you, Classy, I wanted to give a very special shout out here as well. We got another channel member today on the show. We got Saphira Cosplay, my friend in the chat, of course, and in life. I have been friends with this person since early days of high school, so that's going back, man, over 20 years now already, which is insane. But just in case, I've mentioned her before, but she has a wonderfully successful cosplay business on the go here at this point. She's been doing TikTok like crazy and Instagram like crazy. I'm going to bring her up. If everybody in the chat can do me a favor, there's 52 people watching live. When you have a moment, definitely screenshot this, Saphira.cosplay on Instagram, and follow her over on the TikTok there as well. I call it the TikTok because I'm old. Awesome cosplay there. She does lives showing how she actually constructs this stuff. Like, it is wild, wild stuff. And there's quite the community of cosplayers out there as well. So it's really, really cool to see what these folks can do. But she's got some amazing stuff on here, including Barbie Iron Girl, or Iron Man, I guess, depending how you'd say it. Recently won an award there as well, which was very cool. And then again, like I said, showing the actual process of how she puts these together. Very freaking cool. I love you. Thank you so much for being a channel member. You're amazing. Lifelong friend. Definitely follow Saphira Cosplay out there in the world. And let's give a thank you to you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely awesome to have you here. Part of the Nut Yard. Welcome to the crew. You'll love to see it. Mr. Classy Thomas, let's go to you, buddy. What are your thoughts about exclusives? You've been in the collecting game for quite a while now, and so you've been on both sides of that fence, I'm sure, as well, where you've missed on things that you really wanted and been able to obtain some things that maybe other folks didn't quite get.
Yeah, well, I wanted to specifically talk about this trooper, and I know that it's unusual for me, of all people, to want to comment about Star Wars. But I love the look of this trooper. This is the first time I've seen it. And I was like, wow, that will be something that I would like to get. And I'm not big into Star Wars like most people. I have enjoyed the original trilogy. That's kind of my wheelhouse. But the paint job, everything on this figure is so unique. And I'm just sitting here like, wow. I mean, I'm just mesmerized by it. But it's a beautiful figure. But as far as exclusives go, unless they start numbering their figures, why does an exclusive even really matter? I mean,
interesting. Yep.
I mean, it's not like saying this is an exclusive will necessarily increase its value in terms of the secondary market. But, you know, they refuse to, like, if this item right here were a numbered item and you knew there was only like 200 available in the world and you got one of them, that would mean that you have something very unique in your collection that only 199 other people have access to. So that's what I would want to see out of an exclusive, rather than just saying it's an exclusive. Really make it exclusive. Okay? Do something that makes sense, that tells everybody, I got something you don't have. Na boo boo. And that's the whole purpose of you want to flex. You want to say, look at what I got. Look at what I got. I know you're drooling. But the audience...
Classy feeling better on stream. You'll love to see it, guys. You'll love to see it. That's awesome.
But I really like this. I think it's really beautiful.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I totally agree, Classy. That definitely well said, buddy. Well said. Aaron, I'd be curious from you, because, I mean, I know you've been running your show about rants and rambles over on Aaron Articulates. Has it ever come up to you where you felt passionately about exclusives? For me, just to give you some additional context, one of the things that I've been preaching for a while is instead of like a limited numbered release, I would rather see a timed edition window. So once that window comes to an end, however many are made, is the edition size, which would create some level of exclusivity, but also give people a chance to not miss the line. A lot of these times I miss the line because I'm just at work. I'm stuck in a meeting that I can't get out of, and then that's it. I just missed it because I actually have other things in life outside of collecting that I have to worry about. But those timed windows for me would be something that I would like to see. What are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Ben. Like, yeah, totally. I'd be up for a timed window. Having said that, I know there's a few people here that are supporting like what they've seen here. I don't get it. Like, if you're gonna do an exclusive, give me something that I want. Like, what's that? Stormtrooper with like what? Someone just like smashed a strawberry over his head. Why do I want that? Why do I want that? Why is that? How's that movie accurate? It's not, is it? That's never happened. I've not seen that happen. So I don't want it. So I won't get it. But then like, you go, oh well, I'm in Japan. I'll get it now because I'm here. Well, yeah, well, crack on, have it.
How about new?
Come back. Oh, how'd you get on? How'd you get on in the Japan thing with the Star Wars episode? Yeah, I got this. Oh, did you? Yeah, great. Yeah, well done.
With a strawberry.
Yeah, congratulations. And what film was that from? The one where Return of the Strawberries. Yeah, no. I'm not buying in, Ben.
It's fair.
Give me something to fight for.
You're going to be jealous when the rest of the community has one, and you.
Yeah, but they crack on. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, they'll be all right.
That's all right.
No, actually, I've got a Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper, and what I will do if I got that jealous, smash strawberry over his head.
There you go. I want to see it. I want to see proof. I want to see a rant about this, and I want to see this happen on the show.
And that's not. That'd be a better paint job than that as well. That's like realistic as well.
That's funny. Actually, shout out to Brick Artemis if he's still watching. I was watching Wolfpack Wednesday there the other day, and they were talking about the cod piece on this guy and how he's got just that one cherry blossom dot right in the middle of the cod piece.
Yeah.
And now I can't not look at it too. It just draws the eye in quite the way. Let's be honest.
Now I can't get away from that as well.
I've ruined it for all of you. I apologize. Hate to see it. Ben's was canceled after the show. Field the Bird, Robert, what are your thoughts, buddy, on exclusives and kind of the community perspective on exclusives? Is there another way you'd rather them do it, like timed releases, or do you like this way? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with the timed exclusives. I mean, I think it would be more fair for people to obtain it if they, as long as they have a certain amount of days to get it. For me, exclusives from manufacturers has never really been my thing. But I mean, unless they're characters that I really want, like Hot Toys when they did, for the Harley Quinn and the Moon Knight, I got those because those are the ones I really want. But for me, exclusives has always been like customs, because like I'm a big horror guy, so like all the stuff that I want, I have to get specially made. So like all my customs, like I love, because nobody really has them, because they make so few of them that it's special to me, because it's like, yeah, I'm the only like one of like 15 or 20 people that actually have these pieces. So I mean, I don't mind exclusivity, but it just, I don't know. I just wish they would have like a timed exclusive. Just like I bought the Mondo Creature from the Black Lagoon. You know, they have a time exclusive for like the base and everything else that comes with it. So I like doing that. And yeah, the number thing, why haven't they done that? Yeah, I agree with Classy Thomas. It would just bring so much value to that piece if it was numbered. Because, like, you know, Jazzinc, you know, when they do their vehicles, they number theirs. And that brings value to that, you know, piece. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't mind exclusivity, you know, exclusives. It's just, yeah, I just wish they would make more stuff that I like. But, I mean, like, this, I mean, it's okay for Star Wars collectors. Just to let everybody know, I am not a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry. I hate to break hearts, but yeah, I'm not a Star Wars fan. But
he's gone.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's
deportable right there, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm
that's fair, Robert. That's fair, buddy.
Yeah, but I'm man out. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people would want this. I mean, it's totally different. This one, I'm not feeling the appeal of it. Like the teacup one, that was nice. I actually kind of like that. I was like, yeah, if I was a Star Wars collector, yeah, I would definitely get the teacup one because it's very defined in its look. So, I mean, how soon can we see like a stormtrooper for every country, like an American stormtrooper or a Canadian stormtrooper or an Australian stormtrooper? You know, I'm sure those are coming. But yeah,
that'd be cool. I'd be down for a Canadian stormtrooper.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, Robert, everybody says that about me too. Like they always give me shit when I say that I like Star Trek just as much as Star Wars. I practically have to cancel my own show sometimes when I say that out loud. So, you know, I always put Marco to sleep 1/6 on the Collecting Weekly Tuesday show when I start talking Star Trek. But I'm passionate about everything. So, I'm teasing you, buddy. No, well said for sure. Let us know, guys, in the chat if you guys are going to Japan, especially Star Wars Celebration. Was this one that you're chasing? And what are your thoughts on exclusives? Do you guys like exclusives? Do you dislike them? Or how would you rather see them done maybe in the future? Something like numbered editions, I do think that requires a level of management that I don't think that they necessarily want to take on, especially just making sure that those stay organized enough to go out in those batches. But I also think that there's a little bit of like tinfoil hat. I don't always totally believe that the edition size that they say is actually the edition size, because there also has to be a certain amount of them made for spare parts and replacements. We don't know all 3,000 people in the world that got this, so it's not like we can verify that 3,000 actually were made. And there's a little bit of tinfoil hat in that theory, but I think that there's good reason for keeping it gray, if that makes sense, and not necessarily being so specific. But in terms of a collecting perspective, hell yeah, I would way rather have a figure on my display if I knew what number in the edition I got. I think that would be cool, and it would separate it out a little bit. For non-collectors, when they come in and look at the display, they could appreciate the art piece of it in that aspect of it, in my opinion, just that slight bit more. If they can be like, man, you got number 007 of 3,000, how cool is that, right? So anyways, let's move on, but let us know in the chat, guys, what you think there. Again, we still have 50 people watching live. Thanks so much for being so involved in our chat today, guys, participating, super fun. And if you haven't had a chance, or you're just joining us now, hit the like button if you don't mind, to share the video for other folks later on in the day. Let's move on to this. So we got our lovely Mandy Burton in the chat with us. Thankfully, we have somebody out there in the community that we have some trust in, who also knows how to take photography photos, actually can take pictures, so we can have an idea of what maybe we would encounter when we get our artisan in hand. Now, I will say, it seems to me that some of the controversy around artisan overall has been highly fluctuated because a lot of these figures have still gone out to collectors, and a lot of folks have said, I've had no problems, it's been okay. But the select few out there, like Mandy and this JJ and 1/6 Republic, who are reporting that they've had these glue residue issues in the hair of their Anakin. We saw issues with the Joker hair reportedly being, falling out in clumps, or the glue turning orange. Like, there was a lot of stuff that's been happening with this artisan line. And the 1/6 community, while it's a pretty large community still, it's a very niche hobby, and the word gets around really quickly. And let's be honest, artisan figures are not cheap items. These are supposed to be, from Hot Toys at least at this point, at least perceivably, the premium, the creme de la creme, the best ones that exist. And I would argue that so far they haven't really totally nailed that yet. With Artisan Annie here, I felt like there was a bit of a downgrade in the sculpt. Even seeing some of the amazing photos from people like Mandy out there, I still think that it didn't quite look like the prototype. We also aren't getting things like leather accoutrements, the outfits and all the things. Like, it doesn't feel that gets taken that next leap. This feels like this was meant to be a response to InArt, to say, we can do rooted hair too. Don't wait for InArt, wait for Hot Toys. And for a while there, when people were getting their Hot Toys Joker, that was starting to become the sentiment. Don't wait for InArt. Hot Toys is amazing. They did great. Wait for it. I'm going to wait for Hot Toys. And now with the controversy surrounding Artisan, it's back to maybe wait for InArt. So it keeps going back and forth. But I'd be curious because, again, this is seemingly still a relatively small, a small issue. When I say small, I mean scale of numbers. Not everybody who's getting this is reporting the same problem. But for the folks like Mandy and Jay out there who this has affected, this is big news to them, because that would suck. It would take the air out of the tires and deflate your excitement for sure. So let's start with you, X-Men, there, curiously, on Artisan. Now that Artisan has come to fruition, I know I've got an Artisan Artisan Jack Sparrow on the way for you that I helped you acquire. Has this changed your taste for Artisan or your level of excitement? Or are you feeling like the amount of folks suffering from these issues, while shitty, are still a relatively low number? Maybe we don't need to worry as much as we are.
It seems like a low number, relatively. I have heard the argument, and it is very true, that we will never know how they all turn out, because not everyone who has an issue is going to be so vocal about it. I'm sure to a degree, like I've had a couple of things where I've had an issue where it's been like, okay, this is cruddy, but also customer service takes care of it, so it's not a big deal to me, right? So like, I don't even talk about, whatever customer service issues or QC issues I've seen with stuff, and I've seen a few. So I'm certain that there are more out there that we haven't seen that maybe have an issue or two. I don't think that it's time to get the pitchforks just yet. I think that we've seen better than we've seen worse, if that makes sense. Like, from my own experience, I don't have an Artisan in hand just yet, because like I said, we're still waiting for some Jack Sparrows to come out, and I have the WB 100 Wonder Woman, which is, let's be real, the proto Artisan. The only thing that she has that the Artisans don't have, or that she doesn't have that they have, is the rolling eyes. Their eyes don't move. That's it. But the hair, I would assume, is the same process. And mine is, I've had her for a good long while now, and it's very, very good. It's not, I've not seen any issues with her. She looks just like she did when I put her up on the shelf, and it's just great. That being said, mileage will vary, and I think it's healthy to have a degree of caution, because this is still new. This is still new for Hot Toys. They've gotten out, 3 now? Imposter Joker, Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Jack Sparrow. They got 4 out now. And we've not heard of any issues with Jack Sparrow. And I imagine that's probably because he's probably easier to mask things, right? Because he's got the bandana on, so you're not seeing the point where the hair is hitting the head. There's a lot of room for error there, and it'll be fine. But with something like this, I've also heard it said that this is the one that they needed to get right. And in a lot of ways, yes, between this and the Joker, I'm sorry, 5, because we have the Joaquin Phoenix Joker that they did.
Oh, true.
He didn't come out yet, did he?
It's coming. It hasn't come out yet.
That's right. InArt did that one. So no, we got 4 yet still. Either way, this and the Joker were the 2 big ones. Right. These are the ones that everyone's eyes were on from the start.
For sure.
And yeah, like when you consider how long it took to get this guy out, and you immediately see this issue come up, that is a red flag. That is an issue. That's a problem. I don't think that should ever happen at all. If it's a low run of things, I think that there is the possibility, they could have more eyes on it. They could be more cautious with it. They could be taking more. They did take more time with this guy, and we still see this happen. So, and I don't know of any of these issues happening with InArt stuff. I haven't heard anything.
Nope.
About InArt figures having this particular issue.
Some futzing issues for sure, but not this issue. For sure.
Right. So InArt's kind of spanking Hot Toys right now with that, because they just showed up and said, "Hey, we're going to do this," and they had their issues, and they've had QC issues that we know of, but not with the hair. And that's like the one thing that Hot Toys has in the Artisan line is the hair. Everything else is just a regular Hot Toy. So
yeah, for sure.
And they haven't even labeled
should be called the
the
Hairtisan line as opposed to the Artisan.
It should be, but then Beetlejuice apparently doesn't fit in that category.
Also true, yeah. Also true.
Friggin',
it's just regular glue on Beetlejuice.
He's got 2 heads with hair, and he doesn't fit. Chewbacca doesn't fit. Okay,
yeah,
but
there's a lot of hair on that guy.
I mean, I'll forgive Ladypool because that's just like one little ponytail, and that's just an easy little. I'm sure I figured they would include that in because. Why? Why would they go to a whole bunch of trouble over that? But yeah,
I agree with almost everything you said there. I think my only challenge to press back on you a little bit is you did mention the timeline. We waited a long time, and I do feel like as collectors, when we're excited, every timeline we wait for these figures feels like an epically long time. I did take a look. It was about 18 months, so it's still less than 2 years for this to guy from prototype image shown to release. And while that is a long freaking time, not to take anything away from that, it's not the crazy length we've seen with the the Endgame Lokis or some of those other figures that took well over 2 years in the past life to receive. And I think something that Mandy's mentioning here, she said, I wouldn't have made it, I wouldn't have posted, but my supplier said make it public so Hot Toys can see it and address it. I do think getting on it is a very important thing, because apparently Tina St. Cruz, who many of you may know is a wonderful rooted stylist, takes figures and adds rooted hair to them and does amazing work, clearly knows her stuff. Said that the white on the fringe is because it wasn't cured properly and the side is just too much glue. And again, I would say she probably knows, but Mandy also says here Hot Toys QC needs to be addressed. So many issues recently, too many releases too quickly, possibly. And the reason I wanted to press back on you, Dave, there for that reason was, again, while 18 months definitely does feel like a long time, we've seen longer release windows from Hot Toys in the past. If what it takes is for these to have better QC, better drying and curing process, really checking to make sure that, I think perception is everything here. Is InArt really kicking Hot Toys' butt? Maybe, maybe not, right? Like, that's all a perception piece. But where they are is creating the doubt, right? Now there's a bit of a seed of doubt. And anytime you have a seed of doubt in our bodies as humans, whether that's figures, whether it's relationships, it's friends, it doesn't matter. If you have a seed of doubt, it'll eat at you like cancer until it either destroys it or new information comes out that gives us the ability to alleviate it. And unfortunately, we see such a small snapshot of these. As soon as I saw these photos posted, and again, this is no shade to these folks here, because I'm sure this is a community service announcement, right? Like, that's how I see these. But as soon as I saw these photos, I went, oh shit, here we go again, right? Like, here we go again. The negative perception is going to take over. And again, while this affects these people in a horrible way, I wouldn't want to receive my figure like this either, and I would be vocal about it too. it also sucks because, you know, it's not like we don't want to talk about it, but I also don't want to make a big deal of it if it's not necessarily a big deal, if this is still just a small batch issue. But I do think the QC needs to be addressed, like Mandy said, 100%. Classy Thomas, I'll go to you very quickly on this one here, buddy, and then I want to keep moving through the panel. But what are your thoughts on this?
I think Hot Toys, like you said earlier, was responding to NR. And I don't think that they really fully thought through the process. A majority of this figure is glued and not rooted. When you're rooting hair, you're usually doing them into a soft plastic, like vinyl or something like that, or silicone, and it can be very realistic. But if you're using glue, you have to make sure that you're very strategic about where you place it. You gotta make sure that it's set properly. If you, for example, if you have something that you've glued in place and then you accidentally rub against it, like maybe your thumb hits it, then that little area is not going to cure properly, and it's going to turn kind of like a cloudy white, and especially on dark colored hair. So, you know, I think it's something that Hot Toys could have really thought through, particularly for the amount of money that they're charging for. Brooding can be a time-consuming and tedious process. And I think that if you're going to tout yourself as a premium figure producer, then your product, these types of QC issues should not be showing up. That should have been caught with a quality control. So that's just my opinion. If you're going to do these things where you have people calling in and literally, you know, trying to get that slot, to get that last figure, then you ought to be able to expect it's going to come to you in really good condition. So I feel for the collector, because I was not willing to pay that extra $100 or $150 for what they were calling rooted hair. It's wool hair. I believe that, but it just looks like it was glued. So if you're gonna glue it on, and I've seen some people that do a magnificent job of gluing hair, especially I saw this one guy. He was able to. He actually would do, after he'd done the majority of the head, when it came to the hairline, he individually glued little hairs in there to form that hairline. And, you know, they could have also done something like professional wig makers do, using silk and actually hooking it into the silk and then gluing the silk piece down on. You know, professional human wig makers do things like that. And these are things that I feel Hot Toys maybe could have done a better job of researching, so that they wouldn't be receiving these sorts of complaints.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Because again, I think that's what I was alluding to, right? It's the trajectory of Hot Toys was looking pretty good. when it came to Artisan, right? People really liked that imposter Joker, and everybody was like, man, this sculpt is good. We like the sculpt better than in art in a lot of ways, as long as they can do the hair well. Man, like, we can forget all about in art, yeah, if, you know, Artisan keeps being the shit, and then it's been kind of going the other way. And, you know, Adam, what do you think when it comes to trajectory, the trajectory they were on versus now the perception of their trajectory now? Does this change your mind with regards to Artisan? And you've got that Anakin in your hands right now, and I saw you, you know, giving it a close inspection. I feel like you're one of many people who are doing the exact same thing now, right? Looking at that hair closer than we ever would have even done in the past. What are your thoughts?
There's a great line in one of my favorite movies from the 1970s, Saturday Night Fever, with John Travolta. And he's having an Italian family having dinner, and he's about ready to go out, and he's like his dad or something like gets him upside the head, and Travolta says, "Hey, don't mess with the hair. I work all day on the hair. Don't mess with the hair." And that's kind of how I felt, you know, with the Artisan, you know, when I got the figure here. I don't want to mess with the hair. And I did see, I don't know Mandy, but I did see her photos Thursday or Friday on the different Facebook groups. And I gotta tell you, I was sweating bullets when I got this. I got it Friday night,
great.
didn't have a chance to unbox it. And last night, my daughter Emily and I filmed our unboxing video. And I was worried because, you know, I started Hot Toys collecting in August of 2023. Got my first Hot Toys figure then. That was a month after the pre-order for Artisan Anakin came out. So I missed that. And I went on the wait list, but I'm like, I did see some people's converted, but you know, they never called my number. So he's, along with Darth Vader, is my favorite character from Star Wars. So, you know, I collected all my bottles and cans to get my 5-cent deposit, and I checked all the couch cushions to get all the change, and then I took another home equity loan. No, I didn't take a home equity loan, but
Another line of credit.
Another line of credit. You know, and I used a Hong Kong reseller to get Anakin, not because I was trying to get it early, just because I wanted to get them.
Sure.
So you're worried because if there's something wrong with it, unlike say Sideshow, am I going to get it? You know, is there any kind of customer support for that? But so far, you know, he seems, you know, in good shape, and you know, cross your fingers that he'll remain that way. You know, I think you said it. Perception is reality, and maybe 98% of the figures are just fine. But if you're in that 1% like Mandy, well, that's an issue, and that's the reality, and that has to be addressed. That you have to take that seriously, and you know, I think that's, you know, in art, I do have the in art Joker and I have the in art Aragorn, but I got the sculpted versions. So if given a choice, would I get there was no choice in Anakin. You either get the Artisan hair or don't get them. There's no sculpted version. So if given the choice, would I get the sculpted? I probably would get sculpted, because I don't know if I want to fuss with it or take a chance with the hair. I didn't have a choice here. And, you know, I think to in art's credit, they at least communicate sometimes with their customers. You know, they have a communications person. They do issue press releases. Hot Toys is much more of is the right term, opaque. You know, it's like the monolith from 2001. You know, you can't really see inside it unless I guess they go in the Stargate, and they don't really communicate. I mean, their products are fantastic. I love their products, but they don't really, you know. Sometimes they post some photos behind the scenes on Instagram, but they don't have a dialogue with their customers.
We don't get a chance to talk to them. That's true.
Yeah, if I was running, and I'm my business, I'm in communications and PR. So when you see something negative, you don't wait. You get on top of it. That's the first rule of crisis communications. You do not wait. Once you see something is negative, you get on top of that. And Hot Toys, they don't. There's no communication. And sometimes, you know, you let these things fester, and perception becomes reality. So,
and resentment.
This is 2 in a row.
And
resentment. See, this is 2 in a row now. The Joker, and you know, it's. I'm not sure the Anakins are at the Joker level yet, but we'll see.
Well, and I think it's interesting too. You know, because when I think about you know, folks out there like Mandy right now who have had this issue in hand, who clearly are suffering from it, but still finding ways to be positive right now. She's got to wait for another head sculpt, it sounds like, to come, stuff like that. I think anytime we as the collecting community see something or want to talk about something that we either dislike or feel slightly negative, or like sharing an experience that we've had that is still legitimate, there's an element of bravery that goes into actually publicly posting that to our communities as well, because there is still that subset of folks who, no matter what, will jump all over those folks and be like, you're spreading fake news, or you're spreading misinformation, or you're making a big deal, or you sabotaged it, or on and on and on and on and on. And sometimes maybe that is the truth, right? Over the years I've been doing this, I have seen photos in the past where I thought, that seems like sabotage. And then I've seen things that are consistent issues, like we've seen now already a little bit with Artisan Annie and the Joker, which start to feel like, I agree with you, Adam. Yeah, press should really be like on this. Like, why aren't they talking about this, other than the fact that they never communicate about anything? So if they start now, it also opens up a bit of a can of worms. We've seen companies like InArt really struggle with the level of feedback that they get because they open the door. And as soon as you open the door, how do you then close the door again? How do you then say, okay, yeah, we heard you about all those other ones, yeah, we don't care anymore, but still buy our product, right? Once you open the door, you'll never get it closed. And I think that's one of the reasons Hot Toys has avoided it. If anything, that's the reason we've got those Tony Stank sculpts replaced over years, because instead of telling us much about it, they just were like, yeah, the backlash is huge, let's just get them another one. Like, just, you know what I mean? And that'll make them happy. But like, you know, Mandy just said here, that's what I was scared of, the kickback, right? Even just posting it, she's putting a big target on her back to say, to allow people to have the opinion that you've sabotaged it, you've faked the news, you're creating an issue. On the other hand, as I said, even creators like myself who looked at the photo went, oh God, no, I just know the wave. I know the wave of folks that are going to give their opinion. And it makes me want sculpted hair more. Because Hot Toys is doing such great sculpted hair, like, give us the opportunity then. You know, like, if Artisan as a line is going to be hit and miss, give us the opportunity to just get that figure and sculpt it, and we can just call it a day. My TVA Loki has some of the coolest sculpted hair I've ever seen on a figure. I do not need him to have rooted hair at this point. It looks great. Aaron or Robert, do you guys have any final thoughts on sculpted versus rooted, or the issues challenged with these Hot Toys lately?
I just think that, okay, maybe it's like 1 in, or whatever, 1 in 100 or whatever ratio you want to put it in. We're all collectors, and we could all get stung like that. And for me, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. For the amount of money that we're now paying for these figures, we all just sort of say, oh yeah, we're collectors, and we sort of beat the money down the road to an extent. Like, we don't really look at the money so much. Any other product, I can take it back to the store, swap it over, whatever. This is like a niche thing that you can't really do that with. Like, 2 months ago, we bought an air fryer, and it cocked up, and I took it back to Curry's, and I got a new one straight away, same day. Can't do that with that. I just think for the money that's getting invested in it, it needs to be better, and your quality control needs to be better, especially when you've got a company that's breathing down your neck, maybe even better than you in some instances, and you're putting out shit like that could happen to any one of us that's sat here right now could have had that figure. Unacceptable for me.
Agreed. And I'd feel a lot more passionate if this was in my collection. Any final thoughts there, Robert?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people want to give InArt crap about their wait times and whatnot. You know why they have the wait times? Because they don't want stuff like this happening to their figures. If people are paying a premium amount for their figures, this should not be happening at all. And why everybody's like saying, well, Hot Toys is the best because they've been here longer. Being longer doesn't mean squat, because yet they're still not giving us premium materials. They false advertise saying that the hair is implemented. You know what implantation means? Like the hair actually like goes on the scalp. Now I don't know if InArt does it or not, but I mean, if InArt use glue, they're using one hell of glue, because I see not one complaint about their hair. Nothing wrong. Like I have my Pennywise, and that's like the wildest hairstyle that you can have, and it's still there, you know, all in one piece. No hairs coming off, nothing. So for them to say that they're artisan, let's just stop calling them artisan. When they prove that they can actually like get up to InArt's level, don't call them artisan no more, because I'm sorry, I don't see the artisan in these figures yet. Now, granted, I did get the Harley and the Moon Knight, which I hope that they, you know, fix before those come out later this year. But yeah, this is so unacceptable. It makes me mad for people who actually paid the cash to get this, and now they have these problems. It's just unacceptable, totally unacceptable. So that's my little rant. So yeah.
Sorry, I realized I was muted. I love the passionate take on that Field of Burn, because I agree with that sentiment as well. I think there needs to be a little bit more education from the companies on what we're paying for, right? Like you said, if it's cold rooted hair, then I do picture kind of what Classy Thomas was talking about, almost like a needle punch point hair for hair sculpt, and like maybe that is just completely unrealistic at volume, which is why they lean closer to glue. Maybe that's how they've always done it, and we just don't get a chance to really know very well, because we don't get to see what it looks like behind the curtain, right? The Wizard of Oz. What does this process entail 90% of the time? People out there like Tina St. Cruz, who do this for a living for us Hot Toys collectors who don't get the sculpted version or don't get the rooted versions, I would love to have her maybe on the show at some point to give some take on that, because again, maybe at volume it's not possible, but if it's advertised as such, then I do feel why when the quality comes out and it's not what we expect, that it's easier to pick apart. Hey, then what are these dollars for? You know, why is the wait time so long? If it, like, you know, it poses more questions than it's worth. And again, when we talk a little bit about that seed of doubt, the tiny tad of resentment, the things that make our wallets start to crumble in our pocket and start to look in other places, right? Am I willing to wait for other companies to make this favorite character instead? That is not something that any of these companies need, but controlling the message is super important. And while controlling the messages on the docket here, I will touch on this very quickly. I do want to keep the show sped up. We got about 30 more minutes left in total here, guys. We're already almost at 2 hours, so thank you so much for getting nuts with us today. Again, if you're just joining the show, we're happy to have you here with us, of course. You can join the channel membership at the top, the pinned comment as well, if you want to become part of the Tough Nut crew. We've had 2 new channel members just today, which is awesome to see. But also, we got to talk a little bit about the QC, because, you know, the previous Ahsoka version from Hot Toys there was having some trouble. I believe it was Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm remembering that wrong. But it was I believe it was the Clone Wars version of Ahsoka, where she was having breakage issues just above her essentially gauntlet at the elbow. And then we've now seen some reports of more folks having a very similar issue here, as well as bad glue in the magnets. We see our friend Mandy there again, having just a horrible week with receiving figures. It sounds like, man, like that is just like the worst luck possible. So I feel it for you on that one, Mandy, for sure. But again, it does come back down to, like, I've been collecting these bad boys for a lot of years. The amount of times that I've had to glue magnets back in place, straps have just fallen off. Like, it's wild. Like, I think most of us as collectors now have probably a little kit that includes things like super glue, tweezers, stick tack, some of those things, just to make sure that these things stay together. And they're so wildly expensive. I can't even tell my friends how expensive these are, the folks who don't know. And so it's a little embarrassing sometimes when you pull something like this out of the box and it just falls apart. Like that first batch of the Deadpool where the ankle was just popped out. Like, It's just so many random things like that. And then now the reason I've put up the instructions here for this Ahsoka is, we're going to see breakages again, it sounds like, with this Ahsoka. But be careful. Definitely follow the instructions to the best of your ability. And I think that if you can confidently say that you have, and you've had a breakage, hopefully there's enough in terms of replacements. When we were talking about that Anakin earlier, allegedly and reportedly, a week or so ago, I'd seen some collectors saying that there was no longer the option to receive a different Joker head sculpt if you had those hair issues with the glue turning orange and the hair falling out. They being companies like Sideshow, were offering $40 back in return, or like that's it, you could just swap the character out entirely. $40 back in return, and you keep the nightmare that's in front of you, or send it back and you're just out a figure, which I also don't think is a great response. So all that to say, keep an eye on your figures. Definitely follow the instructions to the best of your ability, I would say, because otherwise I think this figure turned out amazing. I think she looks absolutely stunning, just like Rosario Dawson, in my opinion. I would say that I don't still love the snarling sculpt that she comes with. It's my least favorite of the two. Her stoic look, I think, captured the brilliance of Rosario in that role, and her beauty, which I think is a challenge for Hot Toys. Oftentimes the most beautiful characters are the hardest ones, it seems like, to create in 6 scale. So yeah, I mean, I definitely am happy with the final outcome here. I think the proto to final, great movement on this one. Dave, I know you're a big Ahsoka fan, and we'll keep it short and sweet because I want to keep the show flowing here. What are your thoughts quickly on Ahsoka? Not only maybe the QC issues, but also how she ended up turning out otherwise.
Ahsoka is my favorite main canon character in Star Wars. She's freaking awesome. I am very much looking forward to this. I am glad that. See, here's the thing. Like, I often sit here and regret not getting the first batch because I want it. You want it. But then also, I get to watch everyone else's, fumbles and foibles and all the issues, and I get to prepare myself now for this. So I know, don't just bend that elbow. It's crap that we gotta do that. Like, this is, I just make a whole arm. Why are we cutting an arm in half and like making a half of a seamless arm and half of a just make a whole damn seamless arm and put the shit on it. It's fine. But we don't have problems with those. But whatever. Hot Toys do Hot Toys things, I guess. Yeah. But I'm still looking forward to it. Her and the Padawan Ahsoka. I will have all the Ahsokas, just like I will have all the Deadpools. You should look at her. She looks so good. The sculpt is so amazing. The everything about this visually is just so superior to the previous version that we got. But that was also really cool, and I'm glad I have her. So
yeah,
I'm
no
gonna
slouch by any stretch.
No, not at all. I'm looking forward to having this and all the other Ahsokas all in a nice little display that I have in my brain, and it's gonna be fun. And I'm really, really excited for it. But yeah, she looks great. I love her Beats by Dre going on there. The whole thing is just wonderful.
Absolutely. Well said. And I know, Adam, you said you have a take on Ahsoka here as well. I Am Vengeance says, I think the problem overall is that collectors have not had to deal with so many QC issues with Hot Toys. Why do you feel that we're starting to see so many issues now? We can tag in on that question for you, Adam, on your take, if you don't mind as well. Seeing some of these photos already showing up of a broken elbow joint, again with a new Ahsoka, just like we saw from the previous version, and the QC issues. But what are your thoughts on Ahsoka here as well?
Well, very quickly, I'll give the flowers first. Beautiful design. It looks just like Rosario Dawson. It absolutely, from a design perspective, and the head sculpt, it's a step up. It's an upgrade from the Mando version of Ahsoka, which is what I have. However, it's unacceptable that when you had the first Ahsoka from Mandalorian, you had that elbow issue, that in the 2 years since that was released, that they didn't fix that issue, and it seems like they even made it worse. But related to that, if you watch the Ahsoka show, one of the things you notice is that there are many scenes, certainly when she was Ahsoka the Grey, where she had her arms folded, and you know, people kind of joked about that she spent half the show with her arms folded. How do you not design a Hot Toys figure that allows for that? So if people do want to legitimately pose her that way, that's not an option. That's a huge miss.
You're 100% right. She folded her arms almost every other scene in the show. It was getting memeable for sure.
Yeah, it's unacceptable that was not an option.
Yeah, definitely fair. Definitely fair. Why do you think they're having so many QC issues lately, Robert, in terms of Hot Toys going forward? Are they just rushing? Maybe is this a standard amount of QC issues? It's just that there's been a couple all at once, so now it feels like a trend. What is your take on that?
I'm thinking they are not taking their time to actually test these out before they're sent out. It's like, okay, make sure all the limbs are, perfectly good and ratcheted and everything else. They just want to hurry up and get these out the door. I mean, how many announcements have we gotten in the past couple of months? Like, there's still figures from last year that they still haven't released. So, I mean, they're just trying to hurry up and get these out the door so they can rush to the next thing. That's their problem, is that they always trying to hurry up and get that dollar for the next project they got going on. And they're not really taking care of, what could go wrong, such as sports as a Deadpool figure, like the ankle thing and everything else. It's like, are you guys like not keeping your regular workers? What's going on? Are you guys rotating them or what? Because this is not great for you guys. You guys are looking weaker as the years go by, and you shouldn't be that way. I mean, you guys say you're the best, so you guys should stay the best. But I'm not seeing that in the past, couple of years now. So I just don't know what they can do to change things. They just need to slow down. I know people don't like the word slow down. I get it, but some things just need to be slowed down and actually examined before they're sent out the door. Because this is our hard-earned money, especially nowadays. It's people are getting more picky about what they pick up and what they really want. So if you want to keep those customers around, even when everything is going wrong in the world, you got to do better. Somehow you got to do better. I don't know what, but yeah.
100%. And if Hot Toys watches this was their take on that, Robert, as soon as you got through that well articulated point.
I also like to live dangerously.
By clearly not checking on some of the tolerances of these figures, right? You see those like crazy, cell phone tolerance tests where they'll like chuck it off a balcony and stuff just to see if it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fun to see tolerance testing of Hot Toys. If I had unlimited funds, I would do the same thing, but I think it would also piss people off watching me destroy figures just to see how aggressive they can be posed. In fact, I am doing a bit of an experiment right now on my Scarlet Witch, my Multiverse of Madness one, and I may end up regretting it down the line, but I've had her in the floating pose with her legs crossed, and the whole goal of this experiment was, in this current climate that I'm in, will her legs deteriorate in that position after 1 year? So I'm going to take a look 1 year from now, or 1 year from a couple months ago anyways, and see how it's holding up. But I may end up regretting that decision if it falls apart in my hands when I try and undo the legs there. If you guys don't mind, check private chat for me as well, if and when you can, just to give me your take there as well, guys. I think I caught everybody for Ahsoka, if I am not mistaken. I did. Perfect. Guys, let us know in the chat what your thoughts are on QC with regards to Hot Toys. Are we seeing more of it lately, or is it just kind of an unfortunate mismatch of a couple who have rose to the surface and it feels like more of a trend than it is? Is that possible, or are we seeing kind of the de-evolution of Hot Toys and we need to expect more as collectors. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think, especially on the replay, if you haven't already given your thoughts here in the chat. We got two more, or I think three more subjects we've got on the docket here. I do want to, respect my panelists' time, so I'm going to bounce around on panelists on the next couple chats here. So as I said, panelists there, I know you guys have mostly given me your choices. If you haven't already, please put it in the chat to let me know which ones you guys want to talk about. 62 people watching live, though. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, getting nuts with us on Sunday, as always. Let's quickly touch on this. Now, this is the this is a slide of all of the Batman animated series, some of his looks, the Mondo Batman, as well as the Shadow Hero Batman that a lot of people have really enjoyed. We did get an update this week. The picture on the right-hand side is the new, design and development pending licensor approval look at the Jazzinc animated series Batman. And I know we talked about what makes a good Batman at the beginning of the show, and we talked a little bit about how Kevin Conroy, the man, will for me always be the voice of Batman. Batman animated series is what truly started my love for Batman, and so for me, I definitely need a figure of him in my display. I did have Mondo, and while I like the Mondo, he felt very much just like an upscaled version of what I already had in my collection, the 1/12 scale or 7-inch figure line that I already had from DC Direct or Todd McFarlane. So I sold him. I just didn't love the joints. It broke the immersion in my display. I've been really looking for something that's a little bit more seamless. My only criticism now is the cape. I'll be fully honest. It needs sharper edges. I don't love the kind of rounded bumps at the bottom of the cape, but that's nitpicky stuff. I think if they dial in the cape, maybe give us a wired option as well as a jagged edge option, for the drape look, I think that would be great. It just depends on the price point. But the body, I think, is significantly improved. This version of Batman is supposed to look like he skips leg day to a certain extent because of how broad and V-shaped his upper body truly is. You also see that rounded kind of abdomen line right up to almost his pec line, which is just iconic for Batman the Animated Series. So I am liking this a lot more. This has got me so much closer to a buy, especially if the price comes in at the right note. I know we don't know what the price is going to be yet. I think they're trying to figure that out because this is a fully custom body now. I'm sure what we've asked for has also meant additional dollars if you're somebody that's interested in getting this one in, for sure. So I'll go to the folks who said they had a take on Batman here, because for me, this has moved into that buy category. I'm very, very excited to get this down the line from Jazzinc. X-Men Supreme, you wanted to take a crack at Batman here. What are your thoughts now on the updates that we're seeing from Jazzinc?
I'm looking forward to seeing what the final product is. Is it me? It looks like his arms are either too short or his legs are too long. Am I looking at this wrong? Is it just me seeing that on the Jazzinc final there, or not the final, but the new update?
I agree. Sorry, I was flipping back a picture because I was curious, like, kind of how long the legs look like or the arms come down his waist if you're putting them in position, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, maybe. It might just be a bit of a posing thing, like if you're able to give the arms just some subtle bend and turn them towards the legs a little bit, that might be all it is. Because I do agree, optically, it does look a little like he's got shorter arms here, for sure.
Yeah, I think if they, as long as the proportions are good, and the cape doesn't look so, cardboard, I think we got a winner. There are some like right here. Like, this is a pretty good, I think, one. Who did this? Was this what's his nugget? Some dude on Instagram I keep seeing who does a lot of these and does really good Batman figures overall.
Mm-hmm.
But
this was still the Jazzinc prototype. This was still the first prototype Jazzinc showed.
Oh shoot! Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think this looks closer to some other good ones I've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that this is a little bit more on the, realistic body type.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't quite look as good as what we're seeing so far.
Correct.
But I do think that the proportions could use some tweaking. I would like to see some work on the cape, I think. Maybe thicken up the neck a bit, because his head does look a little bit too wide still.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think we're going in a good direction. I certainly think it's doing better than. I don't like the S Hero one. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Like, I had that on order, And as soon as I heard that Jazzinc was doing it, I canceled mine.
Neither day.
Because this was I thought the best looking one that I'd seen that I was willing to pay for. Right, like I wasn't going to pay like $900 for whatever the guy who does customs. Yeah, that's a great figure, but it ain't $900 great. I'm sorry, my dude. Get a license and we'll talk. But yeah, man, I don't want the gorilla arms. I think they were so close on the S Hero. They were so close, and it's like they tripped over their own shoes at the finish line when they got there. This is coming along. I'm definitely looking forward to what they do. I'm interested in picking it up, but we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see the jagged edge cape on the cartoon picture here on the left side, eh? Like what I mean by it's just not rounded and weirdly bumpy at the bottom, like the rounded bumps. I think that looks off. Otherwise, I definitely think they're on the right track with it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's hard to translate, and they're getting there.
100%. Mindy Burton says, hey guys, great show. Gotta go to bed now. Catch the rest tomorrow. Thank you for letting us highlight your photos today and being part of the conversation. Definitely appreciate it. I know sometimes putting a target on our back to talk about things that may be perceivably negative are it's difficult to do. It takes some guts. So thanks for sharing that, Mandy. And hopefully your figure luck gets better going forward. Holy cow. The other thing I'll mention, Dave, is that, of course, they did show us, they being Jazzinc, did show us some updated pictures of the, pearlescent blue look for their Batmobile. I do think this Batmobile is going to suit this Batman a lot more than the realistic body type would. So I'm excited to see collectors get both in hand. I haven't gone in on the Batmobile because, once again, it's almost 5 feet long. I don't know where I would put it. But it's so beautiful, and I love it. And I'm just like, I've got the fear of missing out entirely.
I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for
a while. I just I don't know.
It's a good Batmobile.
You get that payment plan.
The payment plan is a good way to go. I just have so many things on payment plan that after a while you start to still do the math, and you're like, man, I gotta wheel this stuff this back a little bit. So YouTube doesn't pay that well, guys. So there you go. Let's move on here to the next one here. This is my personal photo of my Netflix Daredevil Hot Toys figure that I got last year. It was an older figure now from 2016. In my opinion, this figure is aged really well. The body proportions on it were a little bit smaller than I'd like to see from a Charlie Cox, who got pretty built in the Netflix series show, I will admit. But of course, this was the option leading up to this point. Now we finally are getting the Daredevil Born Again Hot Toys figure. Now, I did do a this or that video on this figure, so you guys already have some of my thoughts. That's why I wanted to share it with the panel today, to see how they are feeling with regards to this updated Daredevil, as well as, and we are going to talk a little bit about a potential spoiler, okay? So there's been photos kind of posted all over the internet for at least a week now of some Season 2 Daredevil photos, and in those photos, we see a double D on the chest, the DD, the Daredevil symbol. And so that's not to say that we're going to see that in this current season of Born Again. We may not see that. This may be the only suit that we get, in fact, from Season 1. But I also think, in terms of toy collecting brain, that there's a damn good chance that by the end of this season, we may see this red suit with DD on the chest, so we may get another representation, as well as maybe a battle-damaged faceplate, because this one is so clean he doesn't come with any battle damage, and Hot Toys just did that with Deadpool. We got the clean, and then we got the battle damage and swappable looks and piss people off. I don't want you to be out there feeling like we misinformed you, but I would be shocked if we don't get another battle damage version of Charlie Cox from this season. And if we don't, I would be shocked if we don't see other representations of Daredevil with the DD on his chest, especially if they're already teasing that in live action. So how many Daredevils is too many Daredevils? How many do we actually need in our display? Is this the look that you're chasing? Or are you going back and trying to find the old version instead? What would be your preference? So, Classy Thomas, you said Daredevil only for you. Tell us about your thoughts on Daredevil so far.
Really like this. I know he's missing his double D, but I think that the color, this actually gives me a feel of the original comics. But the color, the intensity of his suit, it marks off most of the boxes for me. I don't know whether I care for the black boots though. I really would prefer if they were red. But I still pre-ordered it. And as far as how many Daredevils is enough, there are never enough Daredevils. You can never have enough Daredevils. Just like you can never have enough Spider-Mans. You can never, well, you can have too many Iron Men. But, keep bringing me to Daredevils. Give me more, give me more, give me more. I love Daredevil. He is one of my all-time favorite heroes, especially when Frank Miller was doing his run. And it brought to life those his take on Daredevil felt, without the detective part, felt very much like Batman. He had the same type of rogues gallery that had the same type of they were all just kind of demented. There's something wrong with them. And I love that fight of sanity, trying to retain sanity against insanity. So, as far as I'm concerned, give me more Daredevil. I'm going to start pairing them up with my Spider-Mans. And, I don't know, I might just have to have a display of just Daredevil and Spider-Man. Just having their thing together. Doing their street level justice.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well said. Well said. Adam, I know you said you had a take on Daredevil. Do you echo Classy Thomas? Is there no such thing as too many Daredevils in the display? And also, curiously, what do you guys think about the likeness here to Charlie Cox as well? What are your thoughts, Adam?
I love the show. I love the character, like Classy. I used to collect the Frank Miller run. In fact, I have one of the issues on my wall here in my home office. I think, we don't ask this question of Batman or Iron Man or Spider-Man, because the Hot Toys produces millions of them. And I have 6 Spider-Man figures. I get a 7th one, the Andrew Garfield, pre-ordered. I have 4 Darth Vaders. And I know some people say they all look the same, but they're not all the same. There's slight variations. And I got a 5th Darth Vader on the way. He's my favorite character. I have 3 Iron Men. So if it's your favorite character, I have 3 Batman figures, different Batman. So if it's a character that's a favorite to you, as Classy says, there can never be enough. Now, for me, 1's enough. I only need 1 Daredevil. I don't need more than 1. And I was thinking, and I saw this very good video, because I was thinking, should I go backwards to get that 2015, 2016 Netflix series one? Because I think it looks like a good figure. Yeah,
it's a great figure, dude.
And I'm a collector who, I know some collectors, they just want to get the next thing coming out, the next thing. And I don't have any hesitation about buying backwards. I'm an eBay seller's best friend, because I don't got a problem with that. I don't need the latest and greatest. Good enough is good enough for me. So, but in this case, I am gonna wait. I am either gonna get this one that just was announced, or I'm definitely gonna wait till the end of the season, because I want to see if my preference is the red suit with the DD on his chest. The black suit with the DD, I'm not as crazy about. I don't want the black suit. I just want the red suit. But if there isn't a red suit with the DD announced at the end of this, or on his chest at the end of this season, I'll probably just pre-order the one that just was announced. But I think, listen, any character, if it's your favorite character, you want to have every different iteration of that you can. So for you, it's never enough.
For sure. Great great thought too on the Darth Vader comparison, actually. Because Darth Vader is one that, like, even for me, I've got Darth Vader blinders on. I freaking love Darth Vader. I mean, if you think about some of the most iconic movie villain characters of literally all time, Darth Vader is always on the top of that list. But could I tell the difference between every costume like some folks can? Not really. That's why I only have one Darth Vader in my display. Whereas, like you said, with characters like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman, some of those, they have enough variance in the costume that even, like, if it is your favorite character, or even if it's not, there's an element of, yeah, I could have a couple different looks. What I almost want to do is hunt down just the cowls, so I can have the different colored cowls in a display with one definitive Daredevil. I think that could be cool. He's walking into his costume closet, sort of thing, right? And when I think back about like my Deadpool 2 figure, which was a lot darker of a shade of red. And then when I got the the Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine version, it was a lot brighter, a lot more cherry like this. And I was shocked at how much of a difference those two just Deadpools alone in my display had. And so I think same thing could be said even for this. If you have the old Netflix Daredevil figure like I do, this one will still look just as cool in the display. Depending. I just wish that this came with more of a cool base, maybe a bloodied faceplate, unless we're getting another Vattle damage version at some point. Like, there's a few things I wish this maybe could have come with. Flavio's House of Collectibles, good to see you here with us, buddy. Dave, certainly I'll go to you last but not least. All the things that I'm trying to say, words. What are your thoughts here on Daredevil, buddy?
I think I'm the only person who doesn't want the D's.
You're really?
I am not a comic book fan of Daredevil. Yeah. He, like a lot of other MCU characters, I just did not care about in the comics. But I love him on the screen. I absolutely love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. And I'm not that guy who's going to go back and read the comics because I love this character on the screen. If it didn't compel me to read the comics way back when, I'm not going to worry about it now. And I think the D's work in the comics. A lot of things work in the comics, obviously, that don't necessarily work. And when they do come to real, like Wolverine's yellow suit, they do need, as Shane says, to be past with that reality filter. Because, yellow spandex wasn't going to cut it. Mm-hmm. I think this is a brilliant costume. I feel like the D's are too much. I feel like, for me, I need it to make sense why he would put it on there, right? Like, why is he just going to, overly design and put on D's? Like, the suit makes sense in that it is a bit of armor, it does its job. Why does he need D's on his chest? Why would he even think to do that? I don't know why.
Question.
If they make it make sense, then sure.
He's blind,
yeah, like if someone's making the suit for him, like if Luke Jacobson, or whatever his name was from She-Hulk, if he goes back to him for another suit, okay, I can see that making sense. But make it make sense to me. I don't need him to have that on there for him to be Daredevil, right? Like, I feel like it's too much. I feel like they're doing a lot that they don't need to. I think less is more in that aspect. I think this costume is fantastic. I love the color of it. I'm trying not to pre-order so much stuff because of all the X-Men and Deadpool stuff happening. But I pre-ordered this because this is great. And I'm going to have him, and I'm going to have the yellow suit, and I'm going to have all of that because I like them both a lot. And Charlie Cox is just fantastic. He's one of the most endearing, actors in the role of his character, as far as I'm concerned, across the MCU. And he's been around for so long now, and we still love him. He's great. He's fantastic. I gotta have this. If they do a black one, maybe, I don't know, but I definitely want this one.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna create a poll. Do we need DDs on Daredevil? Let me know, guys, in the chat. We'll do a poll while we talk about the next subject here. And Feel the burn, Robert. I don't know if you could see the private chat. Do you have a take on Daredevil before we move on to the final there, buddy? I just want to make sure we didn't skip you. Aaron, I'm going to get you on Maul.
For me, I passed on this. Right now, I have so much stuff that's coming in that I really don't need this one, but I can be patient and wait for the D's on the chest, because that's what I mainly want. Plus the fact that they don't really give you much with this one. Like, it would be so great, like what they did with the Spider-Man figures from No Way Home. Like, sell bases like separately. Like, I would love them to do like a stained church window, or a cross or something, for a diorama base. They could have done that for this, and they didn't do it. So I'm hoping maybe when they do have, a red DD Daredevil, that they would actually take that in consideration, because I think that's what that's the suit most people want, and they want that. They would want a base like that just to complement it, because I mean, there's so many poses that you can do with just like a diorama behind him. I mean, I've seen statues that have him like bursting through the church windows, or just grappling on a cross, that just looks gorgeous, just plain gorgeous. And I hope they do that in the future, but knowing Hot Toys, they probably won't. They'll probably cheap out as usual. So, but still, fingers crossed. So.
Dude, I felt like the money literally draining out of my bank account as soon as you were saying like he should come with a stained glass window or like a cross to put him on or something. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna take a look at eBay, because the last $100 in my account, right, Mike, can go towards a stained glass window.
It's all gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
Poof, it's gone. That's it. That's it. That's how Ben feels. Guys, we have one final topic, and we're going to keep it short and sweet. Again, I want to try to respect the panelists' time today on our Sunday. So we've got, of course, Darth Maul Concept Art Edition. This came up, as well as another exclusive from Hot Toys from the Star Wars Celebration. And I know we talked about exclusives today in the beginning of the show, so if you're just joining us now, skip back to the front of the show after watch on the replay, get our takes on how we feel about exclusives. For me, I have no connection to concept art Darth Maul. I did go take a look at some of the original art. I didn't realize that this was supposed to be kind of what Darth Maul looked like before we got the final version in Phantom Menace. And this one like creeps me out in a weird way. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because the horns are like not like as symmetrical as they normally are, or because they almost look like feathers that are grouped together. Also, from the look of it, it almost looks like the string is indenting his head a little bit, which it does look in the concept art. So I think that's pretty cool. But this is a pass for me. I don't have the same level of connection to Darth Maul overall or the original concept art. But Aaron, it sounded like you thought, or that you felt like you had a take on this before we wrap the show today. So what were your thoughts on Darth Maul?
Again, why? I don't get this. Like, yeah, it's concept. That's what it was. That's what it was meant to look like before the film came out. The film's come out. Everyone's got the figure they need of. But I don't know. Like, this is Darth Maul as a gardener. Oh, we've got him as a gardener now. Oh, and a mechanic. As a mechanic. If he was a mechanic, what if? Oh, what if? If my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle, wouldn't she? Yeah. Well, you could release as many as you want, but keep them coming if you want. Like, Maul was a like checkout person. Okay, yeah, great, yeah. But it's not how it looks in the film, so I don't want it. I know people were saying just a minute ago about having like, oh, yeah, I'll have one, or if you're a big fan, you might have 2 or 3 of one figure. But I don't get where I would put that. If I like loved Darth Maul, like I couldn't get enough of him, I don't see where I'd fit this in. So celebrate it in Celebration if you want, and get it with your strawberry Stormtrooper and enjoy it, but not for me.
Strawberry Stormtrooper. I love to see it. Very honest of you, and I appreciate that too. I think that makes sense. I think a lot of people are echoing that sentiment. We did just say, like we were talking, or like you mentioned, there are some folks out there though who are super fans of Darth Maul, and to be able to have every representation in the collection, I do think is cool. I like that this is concept art, and the fact that like people who appreciate both figures as well as the art of their favorite franchises like Star Wars or IPs, I think that that's a cool thing to be able to get your hands on. For me, this is a perfect definition of exclusive. This is that, like, you hear it in the Hot Toys community all the time. It's for someone, right? Well, for that person who it's for, man, they are like, hell yes, this is coming home. Hell yes. And they're excited. And those are the people that I'm excited to see them also take some pictures and add it to their displays, right? Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video today, if all of our collections look exactly the same, then why would we ever watch a collection tour? These are the types of pieces that get spread into those collections that are just not for everybody, but for somebody. Those are exciting. And this is 100% what an exclusive should be for Hot Toys. Not the Galen Ursos. I like Galen, I think is a great test of the water of exclusive, but most people want a Galen because they love Rogue One, right? Rogue One is some people's favorite Star Wars film next to the original trilogy. How dare them hold that behind an exclusive wall? But a concept art mall, yeah, I think it's a good choice. But I agree with you. He does look like he's a bit of a gardener. I don't understand the art. The art doesn't speak to me because I had no connection to it. If I had connection to it, I know the nostalgic bone in my body would be aching to bring this home and display him next to all of the other cool Darth Mauls. In Hot Toys, for sure. Yeah, you got it. What's it scale man? Lael is here with us in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. He says this is what exclusive should be, in my opinion. I echo the same sentiment, buddy, 100%. And looks like Lael is one of those guys, right? One of those folks out there who not only appreciates the art, but also the figure, the character. So hell yeah. It's not for everybody, but it's for someone. This is the perfect definition, I think, with regards to this figure. But guys, that wraps up our show today. Again, for housekeeping, if you're just joining in, we do have the Tough Nut Crew membership link posted at the top of the chat. Consider becoming a Tough Nut member with us. Saphira Cosplay ended up becoming a member today, as well as Big Dog Pound 1. So you guys will be added to our membership slide for next week. These are our membership badges. If you're becoming a member today, you just became an up-and-comer. Soon to be the Nut Pool within the month, and then on and on and on from there. All nut-themed things, of course, because that's our entire personality on Let's Get Nuts, is nut-themed items. You'll love to see it. And shout out to Dean the Dream Martin for helping me to create some of these lovely ones as well. I would love to do a poll for the channel members here soon, because we're getting close to 50 channel members. If you guys want to see some new updated nut badges or nut emojis, let me know who you'd like to see as a character, and we'll get those made for you. I know there's been a few spider nut requests and some others. So let me know what you guys think there, of course. These are our channel members here. I want to say a quick shout out to the Tough Nut Crew, being currently Elvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, 1 Adam 12, 6 Scale Mafia, 1 6 Figure Focus, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, 6th Scale Collector, 12-inch Moose Stream, The Batman, The Movie Canon, Parks Industries, SpongeBob, Square Balls, Honest Hansel, Peter Cass, Harry Dempsey, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Rachel Miller, Jose G. Hernandez, Figure in a Bubble, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, Balls, Alex Serrato, Pop Culture Relics, Daniel S.C., Figurecraft, Trevor Weed, Big Reap, as Dean would say, X-Men Supreme, Don Maton, Monroe Corbeil, Valkyrie Magnus, Brick Artemis, OG Fan with Star Wars was just Star Wars, Tijuana Mike, aka King Churro, Big Dog Pound 1 has now become an official channel member as well, Saphira.cosplay or Saphira Cosplay on Instagram has become one as well. And then I think a few of those folks fell off, unfortunately, so I do have to update our slide because I know some of you guys have now turned blue, including you, X-Men Supreme. You are now blue 1 year. Bub Nut, love to see it. So I do have to update this slide. Sorry to the folks that I could get that done today. We will for next Let's Get Nuts show. I want to pass the torch back to my lovely panelists here, of course, because without them, Let's Get Nuts show would not be what it is, and without everybody watching in the chat every week when we have the show. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Dave, is there anything coming up for you, X-Men Supreme, either today or later this week, that you wanted to shout out for other collectors or other community members?
Nothing comes to mind. Nope, I'm just trolling, hanging out, hitting up the chats where I am, and wherever I happen to be on a stream, I'll be there.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, it's always appreciated. Again, I met one of your fans in person last night at Mysterio Meotic's party. Awesome party once again. And shout out to Jay there and his cousins. So, but yeah, I've met one of your fans in real life now. So they exist. So thanks, Cumber, for being here, buddy, as always. 1 out of 12, you, the man, are also having quite a bit of success on your channel, probably because you're a lovely guy who honestly cares about the hobby, gives some great takes. I don't know if you've been told this. I actually really, and it sounds kind of weird, but I really like your podcast voice. You've got a very crisp and clear and nice voice to listen to. You should definitely continue to do some audio thinking for your channel, in my opinion, because you have a voice that I would listen to in terms of takes, so something to consider. But what is coming up on your channel, good sir, that we can be excited for, or some other guest appearances out in the world?
Ben, thanks for having me on again. Thanks to the great panel. I give all my success to my daughter, because she the banter and the interplay that we have makes the videos successful and has a little unique take to what we do. Because there's a lot of great reviewers. You're one of them who really are good cinematographers. I'm neither of those. I just open up the figures on the island in my kitchen, and my daughter and I talk about the characters and what we love about them and what we love about the figure. So I have a video up now on the battle damaged Deadpool, the Wade Wilson head sculpt. That's a 10 out of 10 figure. So check that out. And tonight, we're gonna watch the finale of 1923, and then after that, I'm gonna come back up here into the room and edit my Anakin artisan Anakin video. So that hopefully should be up by tomorrow morning. Check that out. You see, I did a little short of it, so you can at least see what he looks like with some different lighting effects. And the full unboxing video will be up later tonight. But it mentioned the voice. When I was in college, I was a newscaster for the college radio station, and
I can see it.
We had a listenership of 5 people. One was my roommate, and then the other 4 people were stoned. So,
oh my god, I may have been one of them, and I just totally forget at this point. You'll have to see it, yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Keep up the great work. Look at that. He's almost at 6K. That's amazing. If any of you folks out there in the sphere have not added him or subscribed, please do so as a favor to me, but also a favor to Let's Get Nuts, because you are missing out on some great content if you are not subscribed there. And again, dude, your daughter's amazing. She adds just like a whole other heart element to collecting that sometimes I think we're missing, as well as just a unique perspective. Honestly, it's not like, I feel like sometimes we're also professional in our takes when we're talking about Hot Toys. Sometimes it's nice to get like the raw, just like, what does this young person think of this hobby and character and figure. So very cool to see. Very cool to see. Keep up the great work there, buddy, as always. Mr. Aaron articulates. Tell us what is happening in your world, but good sir, and thank you once again for being here as always. With regards to Let's Get Nuts, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me, Ben, as always. This Tuesday, there's going to be a live and uncut. I'm going to get a couple of new people on for that one, as the typical panel of Pete, Ian, and Jim Collector are not available. So I was going to give a little debut to some up and coming YouTubers, hopefully, but they'll be on there for that. And then the following week will be live and uncut with the original panel, and then Thursday OFAC on the 17th. So that's what's happening in my world at the moment.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Also, I know you've done some stand-up comedy in your life. I would say there's definitely a great flair to your content of comedy. One of my favorite things is to see you just rant and ramble about stuff that I wouldn't necessarily think about, but then I'm like, man, like the key on a tin of corned beef, man, that does piss me off, So like, it's just some of the stuff that comes out is amazing. Well, I'll often put you on a Friday night in the background when we're making dinner and having a beer or smoking a joint, and we always have a laugh, man. Let's always have a laugh. Yeah. So let's get Aaron Articulates to 100 subscribers, friends, and family out there. If you're watching right now or watching on the replay, go over, give them a sub, and give the content a chance. Sometimes the algorithm is hard to win but once it starts pushing you out there, I'm confident people will like what they hear and see on the show. So great job, buddy. Keep up the great work.
Cheers, Ben.
And thanks for staying up so late with us tonight on your time zone.
Okay, I'm off for 2
to be here.
weeks. I don't care.
Fair. He was like,
I've got 2 weeks
sleep,
off. I don't give a shit.
sleep or streaming, you know, this or that, both.
Don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, buddy. Classy Thomas, anything coming up for you, buddy, this week now that you're making your return to YouTube and all of the things? Anything going on for you, buddy?
I don't really have a lot of specific plans. I probably am going to show up on After Dark this week. I took a few weeks off, but like I said, now that my voice, even though I sound pretty hoarse, and my breathing is also starting to improve, then I said one of my goals through my speech therapy and physical therapy was, I said, I want to get back to streaming again. I miss my friends. So so I was feeling really, really good today. And that's why I said, I hope you got space, because I really like to join in. So thanks for having me today. And thanks to all the panelists for receiving me back so warmly. And, thank you all, because it's nice to be on a larger panel, because you don't really feel the pressure to have to talk all the time. That's why I bowed out of so many of the different things. I was like, yeah, I don't think I really have a take on this one. And then that way we can spread the jelly to all corners of the bread.
Love
Everybody
chili on
gets
the
it.
bread.
Yeah,
That's
chili.
amazing.
So,
Amazing,
yeah.
dude. Amazing, dude. I don't like to speak for the community very often, but I know for sure that you are loved. We are happy to see you back and making recovery steps to the panel, as well as to the community of folks watching, both on replay or in live. Thanks for giving us a chance to get Classy back on here and having a little bit of patience, because I know it, like, even if you're listening on audio, sometimes it can be hard, listening to the struggle. But the struggle is real, and this show isn't meant to be some famous podcast. It's meant to get a group of friends together to talk about some cool shit in the world and some figures and stuff and have a laugh. And I think if we accomplish that goal together, we've done the right thing. So we love you, buddy, and thanks to everybody for being patient with Classy while he makes his Classy return to existence within the YouTube sphere. Love you, buddy. And thanks for being here. Field to Burn, Robert, once again, buddy, thank you for being back. Sorry I didn't see your link request earlier, so thanks for being able to figure out that. But your takes were awesome today. Really appreciate you being here as well, buddy. Anything coming up for you that you're excited about? Or have you been thinking about making your own YouTube channel at some point, or are you just kind of sticking to being a guest for a while? Where you at, bud?
Yeah, right now I'm sticking to being a guest on live streams, because I don't know how some of y'all make YouTube channels with like reviews and everything else. I mean, maybe down in the future I might make one, but right now I'm just happy just being on stream, just giving my honest opinions on stuff, and just hanging out with other collectors, and having a different perspective, looking from outside in on certain stuff. So yeah. As far as anything coming up this week, you'll see me all the time on Geo, the Movie Cannons channel. On Sundays, sometimes Fridays. We're trying to nudge him towards that Friday spot, because I think we have a good time on Fridays more than anything. But other than that, I'm spending a few days to get myself better, because right now I'm fighting a sinus infection. So I gotta get that taken care of. But other than that, I have some head sculpts for a few of my figures that are coming in. So I'll be posting those up on my Instagram. And other than that, yeah, just hanging out. So yeah, thank you again. It's been fun being here for the first time. Thank you for the invite, and I'll know what to do next time.
You know what's funny, Robert? I thought we'd had you on before. I thought there was at least one other time that we did get you on, but I forgot that it was we got you added to the chat, but you couldn't join that day.
Right.
And so it was like next time. So yeah, first time on Let's Get Nuts. I should have given you your flowers. My apologies. Holy cow, dude! Thank you for being here for your first time. I'm glad you had fun. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And definitely keep an eye out for Field to Burn on Instagram, as well as jumping in with Geo on the Movie Canon YouTube channel and all of the other places that you'll see all of these lovely gentlemen. I can't be on every live stream, but there's a little bit of a pride thing in me when I see that you guys have been on my show and then you're out there in the world doing other shows too. It's fun. I just love seeing you guys. So thank you for being here as always. With all of that said, Mr. Classy Thomas, once again, we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Subscribe and makes you feel good. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's gone. It's all gone.